Hey world,
Hey Dallas.
I'm Alvin,
I'm Charles.
and welcome to Tit for Tat.
This and that.
And thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you, guys.
And please like, share, and subscribe. Today we are going to be talking about are we black first? The intersectionality of being black and queer.
Yes and no. Who's Alika? Hey, Alika, Aliko.
Let's see.
They say yes and no.
Yes and no. Oh, hey.
Answer the question. Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, what did he say? Well, thanks for joining us.
Right.
You're the first one. You're the first one that said something. So we hope to hear some input from you, right, throughout the show.
Right. Yeah. So
tell us why you came up with that answer.
So then, so I'm gonna play this little video. I think it's a minute long, and it's what spurred me to want to talk about this conversation this week. And then it's kind of interesting, because I do want to get like the other people, whoever comes in, I do want to get their, if they're black or even if they're not, you still weigh in, but I want to get their opinions or what their thoughts are on, are we black first? Or are we a man first?
Right.
Are we a woman first?
Right.
Are we gay first? Gay and lesbian, queer first? I mean, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
Or
it doesn't matter. Does it even matter? And why can't they just both be equally important? So yeah. Yeah.
So so I'm gonna play this little video, and then we'll get into this discussion here.
Okay.
And I have a couple of other ones throughout our show that deals with this subject also, but then throws some of the religion into it. So then we want to kind of tie that into it too, and see how that kind of plays into are we this first or are we
and like what brought them to that decision,
right?
Right.
So I'm gonna play this little video. And then let me share my screen here.
Homosexuality is abomination. So you want to quote scripture, but you marry and get.
But we never spoke.
I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I keep making it personal.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying because listen, you introduce it. No, I'm not insecure about nothing. Listen, you introduce.
We'll talk about God, but be for the devil, man.
No, listen, you
crazy me, man.
Real quick, you introduce homosexuality into the conversation.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said.
None of us brought up homosexuality.
I said homosexual. I said I don't support homosexuality.
Right. And that's what I mean. That's simply what I mean about introduction. But nobody's talking about that.
A man ain't supposed to be with a man. A woman ain't supposed to be with a woman.
Gang.
Period.
Nobody talking about that.
Yeah.
Listen,
I don't support LGBTQ. I don't care about the rainbow. And when you follow the core principles of God, you're always going to be all right. The problem is this: man, the devil, made it tempting. And what happens is because you feel you're powerless and what the devil has accumulated is more powerful than God, then you sit there and you're afraid to say what God said. God spoke out. God, then it's an abomination. Homosexuality is abomination. So you want to quote scripture, but you marry and get.
But we never spoke.
I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I keep making it personal.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying because listen, you introduce it. No, I'm not insecure about nothing. Listen, you introduce.
We'll talk about God, but be for the devil, man.
No, listen, you
crazy me, man.
Real quick, you introduce homosexuality into the conversation.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said.
None of us brought up homosexuality.
I said homosexual. I said I don't support homosexuality.
Right. And that's what I mean. That's simply what I mean about introduction. But nobody's talking about that.
A man ain't supposed to be with a man. A woman ain't supposed to be with a woman.
Gang.
Period.
Nobody talking about that.
Yeah.
Listen,
I don't support LGBTQ. I don't care about the rainbow.
Just the way he said, I don't care about the rainbow. It's kind of funny, but yeah, he's crazy.
Right. So this guy, he's talking about, in what they were talking about, a variety of different subjects, but that came up, the question, like the question that came up, throughout their conversation about are Black people starting to accept like homosexuality, queerness, or trans, whatever. They starting to accept that more, and they're putting that over the Black community, like with the church and with anything, are we prioritizing being gay, queer, trans over being Black,
right.
Or the community, like with activism and or just even with the church, and stuff, like that.
Representation, it's becoming more,
And it's like he's saying, he's basically saying that as we move forward this society, we're forgetting our morals and values and what issues and stuff to fight for, or whatever, because we're more focused on gay people and allowing gay peoples and trans and stuff to have rights. So so that's what made me want to talk about this. But you go.
So that was his viewpoint of how he thinks society is going. But just because that's your viewpoint doesn't mean that's the reality. That's just the way you're seeing it. That's the way you're perceiving it, or whatever. I don't see why the two can't be, simultaneously important, of great importance and of value to the individual that happens to be Black and gay, or whatever. Because we're not just one thing, you know what I mean? I'm not just I'm not just what I do, like my occupation, people always ask you, what do you do? That'd be the first thing, but that's not my totality. That's not, all that my core and, what all that I am, that I bring, that I present or whatever. There's more to me than that, so, I think that's just a very small way of looking at things. But when you're biased to religion or whatever, your whatever you were grown up in and taught, as you matured in life or whatever, then I can see you kind of having different opinions or having the view that he had, which was kind of crazy.
Well, to me, it's kind of like some of the other stuff we've talked about, like with religion and different stuff like that in some of our other episodes, where these people get out here, and then thou dost protest too much, like some of these preachers and stuff, like that, when they're constantly preaching against, homosexuality or anything, and stuff, like that. And a lot of them are going out doing the same thing themselves, they just until they get caught or whatever, or they're on the down low or whatever. This guy, to me, like he does protest, he protests too much. I mean, I went and looked at some of his other stuff where he's talked about that stuff too. It's like, well, why are you worried so much about us, whatever, get out there and do your activism and stuff then or whatever, or whatever. But the way he's talking, and then his behavior, which, their words, they're curse, he's using a lot of curse words and stuff, like that, which we kind of all do. But, the way, that behavior, is that a representation of the church?
Right.
Or, what is it? What word I'm searching for here? Is that a representation of
God,
Jesus?
Christ-like,
Christ-like. Is that, that type of behavior? And then you come out and then, and say, I don't, curse. What I forgot what he said. It was like, I don't give a shit, or I don't. Or fuck the LGBT. What did he say? Something like that. I don't, fuck the rainbow or something like that. He can have his views, and you don't have to agree with being gay, trans, queer, lesbian. You don't have to agree with that or whatever stuff. But you don't have to go out there and mistreat people or put out that type of language and rhetoric, like some of these churches are putting out. Also, some of these religious leaders are putting that out there too, because like we've said before, that type of rhetoric, it can influence people. It can influence their judgment, their behavior, where they can get out there and they can do harm to the queer community, and it has happened so many times before. Just like,
or even someone in the queer community harmed themselves because of what you're saying,
right? Yeah. Just like with Black people in general, we've been harmed before due to racism, or some of the stuff they preached in the Bible and stuff about, Leviticus and Romans, all of them, Sodom and Gomorrah, this misinformation that they're putting out there and preaching, has also caused gay people harm. But Black people, even in slavery, during slavery and all this other stuff, it's like they're not seeing, we're not seeing the correlation of how, our rights are our rights, our human civil liberties, our human rights are our rights, just like it's your right to be, everybody's right to be whatever you want to be, as long as you're not harming anyone or harming yourself or whatever. But just like during slavery and stuff, we've been caused harm, killed, mutilated, hung, put out the pasture like a cow, or something, like that. But it seems like no one's seeing the correlation. Not some, but some people do. But it seems like we're still in that position where, where they're still not getting it, right? And then they're still saying this same rhetoric that they've been spewing for years and years now. Even as since I was a teen, late teen, I started hearing this type of rhetoric. Right. So
they're having a hard time getting it for sure, because there's some things that affect all people or the people in your group, and you don't minimize an issue that maybe we're standing for or that we are protesting for just because it's not the same issue as you or whatever. You can still fight, and be together on an issue even when it's not affecting you. For instance, say, like we talked about on the show, how Black men have gone out and protest, and women are right there along with them or whatever. Well, what if the women were like, well, I'm not Black. I mean, I'm not a man. I'm not a man. So why am I gonna go help them or whatever? So it's like you want us to choose, but you guys don't choose. You're out there for whatever affects you, and you think just because this doesn't affect you that it shouldn't be something that we hold in in a high regard or whatever, because this is who we are or whatever. And there are times when we stand for things that probably don't affect us directly, but we're there. So it's like, why can't you see that this is us. This is not going away. This is something that, regardless if it affects you, it affects us, and it should be important to you. Because like you say, it's human rights. It's for the human race. Because you might have a daughter or son that may be gay or whatever. So you're just gonna not support them or whatever. And I know some do, but yeah. This is crazy.
So Aleko, he says the way morality is seen within Christianity within Christianity is dishonest. How many act like him and end up being gay themselves or predators? I feel annoyed about it growing up, a former pastor's kid. And just like that guy we was watching just a minute ago on the video, he wasn't acting, what they say Christ-like is. He wasn't giving me Christ-like. He wasn't giving me loving at all. Loving everybody, or whatever, and he wasn't giving me that at all. But the morality is seen within Christianity is dishonest. It's very dishonest, because a lot of them, all you got to do is look around at people and see how we act, see how we behave, how we dress, all the stuff that we do, or whatever. Some of the stuff that comes out of our mouth, no one's following that Bible. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's only used for when they want to use it to try to prove a point, or to hurt somebody else, or to take somebody else's rights, right, or right to life away.
Right.
Because they're not following that themselves, So, and I agree with that. He said, I feel annoyed as of a former pastor's kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wonder how, so growing up as a former pastor kid, I wonder how, how that affected you, with, I mean, I don't know if you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, straight, trans, or whatever, but if you are in the queer community, I wonder how that affected you growing up, or if your parents even spewed that type of stuff to you or in the church. If you heard any of that type of rhetoric and stuff like that growing up in the church, that would be an interesting conversation. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
See, John has some stuff here to say too, and we'll get into. John says, in the early days of Christianity, when new believers in Christ were converted, they were naturally moved by the Holy Spirit to grab as many books as they could and pitch them into the fire.
Rolling.
Unlike the sissy, Jesus is what? Unlike the sissy, Jesus is love. Fake Christians, whom both the Lord Jesus and we both love. We have running around today. The early followers of Christ were never ashamed to burn books. The earlier followers in the Bible didn't even have books. They were writing stuff on the walls and, or any and other type of things. But, but when they were able to write, none of them were burning books. You know what I'm saying? They weren't running around burning the scrolls and burning all that stuff. That's why a lot of the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff are still around. They can still find some of that stuff. But
he's giving us a comedy relief. But thanks for coming by. But his statements are really.
In fact, this is what else he said. He said, in fact, if you ever find yourself being grateful for the destruction of most of the works of pagan nincompoops like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, you have a Christian to thank. So, well, those are his views. I don't agree with it, and I don't think most gay, lesbian, queer, trans is going to agree with it. There might be some out there, some self-loathing gays out there who agree with you, John, but that's your opinion. And then let's see, he says, how long does a woman stay unclean after the messy act of, oh my God, he's getting into stuff. All right, John.
He's trolling.
Yeah, he is.
Well, thanks. Still thanks for stopping by and giving us that view. We appreciate it.
Right. So since he's talking about that, I'm gonna go ahead and play. I'll go ahead and play this. Since he's on, on the this religion thing, let's go ahead.
I'm going to be, for the statement I'm about to make, I'm going to be called a racist. And I will be called every name under the sun. But somebody needs to stand up and speak to the black church. When the largest African-American Pentecostal denomination, when that leader stands up and said, I endorse that woman, he was saying, I endorse murder. I endorse homosexuality. I endorse lesbianism. I endorse transgenderism. I endorse every evil that hell could prosper or bring up to the right. That's wrong, folks. And the black church votes predominantly for the party that is anti-God. What's going on here? What's going on? See, my statement to them is this. We've had them call into the program. I don't like it when you talk about life. Well, no, the problem is they don't like it because we're stepping on their toes. Hello? But I I guarantee you, if 1860 was today, they wouldn't say a word about preachers preaching against slavery. They would trumpet it, and they should. So then, why will not the African American church stand up for righteousness and stand up for the Word of God? Come on, church. Come on. You can call me a racist. You can call me every name under the sun, but I am right. I come against you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't vote for somebody just because mama voted them or daddy voted for them, but you vote according to the Word of God. Come out from among them and be ye separate, says the Lord of hosts. If you are a Christian, start acting like a Christian. If you claim to be holy and righteous, start acting holy and start acting righteous. Now, I will be called a racist. I will be called every name under the sun because I get their emails. But I want to serve notice on the devil right now. I like what old Uncle Bud Robinson, the Nazarene evangelist, he said, as long as I got fists, I'm going to hit the devil. When I can't pick up my hands anymore, I'll use my feet and I'll kick the devil. And when I can't kick him and hit him anymore, I'll bite him. And when I don't have any teeth left, I'll gum the devil to death. I will not be silent. I will not shut up. This country is too great. This country is too important. This country was birthed by God.
So he says that he would be called a racist. Well, actually, you'll be called a bigot and a hypocrite. Okay, because what he's preaching and selling, okay, that's not him.
Right.
That's not his family. The family he came from his father was Jimmy Swagger. Mm-hmm. All type of corruption, stealing from the church, out there having sex, just like a lot of the other pastors outside of marriage. Mm-hmm. You know, all type of abuse going on in his family, and he grew up in that church. Okay, right. Now, and his father spewed that type of hatred also. Now he's spewing that type of hatred also. You know, but he's on there with, if you're going to follow the Bible like you said, then take off them clothes you got on with all that mixed linen. Okay, right. And he's sitting up there with all that makeup on and Botox. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's changing himself other than what God made him. Right. You know, putting Botox and stuff in your face and all of that. That's not how you were created. Right. You know, and you're not what to follow the aging process. You know, so you're sitting up there with Botox and then makeup on your face to present yourself as something else. You know, and then no telling what else, you know, you're out there doing behind closed doors or what may come out about you. Right. Just like we're finding out all this stuff about Diddy and everybody else and stuff, you know, and other preachers and different stuff that they're, you know, what they present themselves to the public is not who they are behind closed doors. Right. Okay. So this fraud here, or heretic, whatever you want to call it, you know, if you want to use a Bible verse, this heretic here, you know, just like the other guy we looked at earlier, you know, the way he was spewing his rhetoric and stuff too. Them both, they're both the same. Yeah. You know, and then they're trying to put out a message, and then people will you know, listen to that type of crap. You know, and then they can do us harm. Right. You know, or try to do stuff which they're trying to do now is to strip us of our rights. You know, and if anybody goes out there and read 2025. You know, a Project 2025, which they've been trying to do this forever, you know, but it's out there, you know. So and then this preacher here, he's upset, just like some other Black people are upset because people, you know, the majority of Black people are going to vote for Kamala Harris, you know, and so he's spewing this type of venom. But I don't think, I can't shed my blackness no more than I can shed my queerness. Right. You know, I mean, it's all that's, you know, and anything else about me, unless it's something that I deem as negative or something that I need to, work on or fix or get help for or something, like that, that's all a part of me, so, what would if I shed my queerness, then what would I be? It's not going to make me heterosexual.
Right.
It's not going to make me straight,
Right.
well, I mean, it'll be just me pretending to be something that I'm not, which will cause more harm to me. And it probably end up causing harm to other people out there that I know in the world too, because I'll probably start acting out, doing all type of crazy ass shit to cover up, cover up me trying to be heterosexual or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, this John character.
Yeah, to me, like in an ideal world, I don't think we should have to prioritize one part of our identity over the other. Right. I think it should just be equal. I mean, on all forms, and there should be a way that we all, can just understand that and not see people as, not put people in boxes really and saying, this is who you are. You can't be anything else. And if I don't accept it, then I'm not for you, or, because what about the person that's Black and handicapped or whatever? Do you not feel some type of compassion because their identity is just not the Blackness of them, but they carry, the handicap, or say someone has a disease or whatever. All of that is a sum total of them or whatever. And we have to grow to a people where we can be in a place where we can accept people with all of that. I mean, we may not agree with everything, we may not like it or whatever, but you still should be able to accept them just being a human that has all these things that's connected to them, whether I like it or not,
Right.
So I don't know if we'll ever get there, but I mean, I think that would be, the ideal world if we could just, walk in that way.
Yeah, it says, which do you put first, being Black or being a woman, being Black or being a man, being Black or being gay or queer? And I have to put all of them for, I mean, me being a man, I have to put, I'm both. I'm Black. I'm a Black gay man, queer man, however you want to label it. And I can't separate them. But it says certain roles and behaviors that make up one's identity may be encouraged or discouraged by the approval or disapproval of society at large. Characteristics which form an identity, such as gender, often emerge from social norms and spread to individuals from society. I'll read that ticker.
Right.
It kind of goes across kind of slow. But yeah. We learn our behaviors and stuff. That don't mean we're going to take every behavior that we grew up with or what people do it. But a lot of our behaviors and things that we do, we learn that from our parents. Some of it, a lot of it, or from our friends growing up. We learned it from church. We learned it from work. Different stuff. Like that. That doesn't mean that you are going to do everything, because as you grow up and get older, you kind of dispel some of the stuff you grew up and stuff with. But yeah, most of the stuff that we do, our behaviors, we carry that on from our parents and stuff like that. And you got to remember, most of us were born with heterosexual parents, so we learned a lot of stuff, from them, from that. So,
and another thing too, I think with especially Blacks. If I can see like maybe the older Blacks, maybe like our grandparents and great grandparents, because of the struggle that they had with, just being Black and having to fight for things and, having to actually do these walks and protest and, actually command that we be looked upon as equals or whatever. I think that generation, they may, put the blackness first because they're, all that, they're rooted in all that, that they went through, their experience, like you were saying, their experience or whatever. But, and they might have taught their kids that or whatever. But somewhere, I think it kind of changed because with this generation, this, that we have now, what are they, Gen Z or something like that? I think for them, more of them are probably at this day and time will put the gay, like, no, that, and not to say that either one is right or wrong, but I think that, that the experiences, the perception, the views have changed over, because I think even though we still have a long way to go, I think a lot of people have accepted it the way it is, that like, okay, we make some breakthroughs with that or whatever. So now, I think these younger people, they don't see that as a thing in there, because I'm not struggling, like you got, that was y'all's fight. Now my fight now is the gay. So they may see, the younger generation or whoever, you may see that the gayness shines more, about your person than the blackness. But someone in that time fighting with slavery and, the struggles of equal rights and all that, I think that they may put their blackness over anything else because, they really had to get out there and fight for it or whatever. Or they actually saw it, they experienced it, or was told about it,
It's the underlying assumption that we should put our identities one over the other because one of them is actually more important than the rest, or that we must arbitrarily choose one of them over the others for the sake of acceptance in one particular community. Right. And I don't agree with that.
Right.
If you go back, there's still a lot of people who would agree with that. They think that, that you should choose black first because when you're born into the world, you're born black, and they think we can still hide our gayness.
Right, because you weren't born gay. You were born black now, but you weren't born gay.
Yeah, and truthfully, there are some people who weren't born gay. Some people, there are some people who come by it or get into it or whatever. Some of it sometimes through where they have been molested or something maybe, and then some of them think that's the way that they are or the way that they should be or whatever. There's some of them who have been in jail, and then they, in jail they're not getting any no punani, or unless they have conjugal visits or something, or they're sleeping with the guards or whatever. I don't know, but and sometimes, so in order to get their rocks off or whatever, then they'll go in and have sex with men or whatever and stuff, like that. And then when they get out, they may not ever do it again or whatever. That doesn't really make them gay to me or whatever. But there are though, and there's other circumstances of why, maybe why some may think that they're gay and they're really not or whatever, or have tried it or experimented or something like that. But I would say the majority of the gay, lesbian, bi, trans, queer community, I would say the majority of us were born that way. And I think the majority would say as they get older and start understanding it, or they've come out and stuff, like that, most of them would come to agree that they do believe they were born that way. There's going to be a few exceptions to the rule, say, no, I still wasn't born this way, even though they're 100% delved into the gay world and sexuality.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I'm gonna play this other little video. This is the one. This is like a rebuttal to the. This is another preacher, but he's rebutting the guy who, Donnie Swagger. What Donnie Swagger just said. About the blacks and the church, right?
Oh, is this the preacher from here? I know.
When the largest African American Pentecostal denomination, when that leader stands up and said, I endorse that woman, and the black church votes predominantly for the party that is anti-God. What's going on here?
I was trained as a church historian. I revolted and disgusted by the son of a man who condemned other folk and then did the same thing himself. I will not be lectured by the great-great-grandsons of white preachers that told black folk slavery was ordained by God and you ought to be happy to be a slave. I will not be lectured and taunted and dismissed by white preachers who refuse to understand my dignity and my culture and only want to recognize me when I emulate them. The black church at its best has always been an institution for liberation of black folk and all folk. Our doors have always been open to anybody who wanted to come in. Our faith has always been about love, about loving folk enough to hold them accountable for their disrespect of God's creation of black folk. I serve a God who created me in God's own image and gave me the right to decide what I would do with my life. I'm grateful that I had a praying mama. I'm grateful I had a father who was light-skinned and decided he was going to continue to identify as a black man because his daddy was the only black person in the town he was raised up in upstate New York. Nappy-headed, bronze-skinned Jesus.
Here in North Africa.
Who died on a cross that I can have life more fully. And I will not allow somebody who denies the truth of the matter. He would rather have somebody with 34 felony convictions for an innumerable number of other court cases waiting on him, who has been sued over 4,000 times in his lifetime, who gets off a bus, talks about putting Tic Tacs in his mouth.
So that's right, though. You know, this guy is going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
That's the hypocrite right there. Mm-hmm. He's overlooking everything that Trump did, but he's going to criticize black folks and the black church and black folks, you know, for how we, how we vote or or our views on things or whatever. When this idiot here, you know, that idiot Donnie Swagger, you know what I'm saying? With the corruption and all the stuff that came out of his family and who they are now still.
Right.
You know, and the way they preach, it's crazy. But he's going to vote for Trump, who don't even like them really. You know, he's putting up his own front, you know, or whatever. But you know, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely crazy to me. But
I think sometimes when people make decisions like that, I wonder what the root of it is, because I think sometimes it may be, and this is in my notes too, that it may be survival. Like they have this survival, like if I don't go this way, you know, my community that I represent, they're going to come after me, especially when you're, you know, you have your own thing going on. He has his own, you know, media, because, you know, he has other shows. You said you watch some of his shows. The first guy. Well, really, all these guys.
He's called, his channel is called The Smart Guy. The Smart, and he's always on other people.
Oh yeah, he's smart. I'm sorry. Where's the smart?
He's bloviating. That's his way of you know, getting people to watch and get views and stuff, you know, like that, and to go act over the top. And then there's people out there who agree with him. They overlook at his behavior and stuff that's coming out of his mouth. He talks about other stuff too, but a lot of times he's on other people's channel as their guest and stuff. When he was on these guys' channel, They couldn't even get a word in edgewise. He yelled and refused to talk into the mic. He refused to shut up or do anything to let them talk. And it was their show.
Right.
And then and they were even saying, they didn't agree with, what he was saying about, the queer community or whatever. They were like, because
they didn't even bring it up. He did.
Right. And then, they didn't agree with his stance. And then he got to the point where, I'm not shutting up. They even told him, he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It was through the whole show or whatever. They had, they couldn't really control him, but they just let him go. They just let him go, I have it here. Should we compare gay, lesbian, queer struggles to the Black struggle? Like through, all through Jim Crow and, slavery, everything, and stuff, like that. When our ancestors and our, were fighting for our rights, all the stuff they had to endure and go through so we can be where we are today. We still could be better. We've made a lot of progress. We made a lot of strides. We had 2 or 3 steps forward, a step or 2 back, another step forward or whatever. But, we're, Black people and queer people, we're taking those steps to, for, so we can all have equality, and live a life of acceptance and happiness and, whatever, what all comes with life.
Right.
But there's people who are out there who don't think we should be comparing the gay struggle with the civil rights struggle or anything like here. And so here's one of the arguments I put in here. It says, argument 1, gays, lesbians, queers are not a race of people. Discrimination against Blacks is very different from discrimination against gays. The Black struggle in America has historical basis and implication. Slavery and Jim Crow were practices that raped our families, our identities, and our culture. Today, Blacks remain politically and economically oppressed. All of that happened, but it happens with gay people too.
And I was gonna say, why can't you compare if they're both discrimination?
Right.
Both were being treated a way that they didn't deserve or they should have received. So they're both trying to, be in a better place as far as society. Like, why are we any different? Why, why can't we get the same things that you guys are afforded or whatever? So so we're trying to get you to see. Change your minds on how you see us or whatever. So there's similarities. So why can't you compare those?
Right.
But then my thing is why we even comparing it in the beginning? Like that was something they brought up because they got offended.
Right.
Because I don't think gay people went out there saying, we're comparing this. We just want our rights because we're being discriminated to as well.
Right. Yeah, and it says. It is not the morality of Blacks that is in question. It is the color of their skin and the deep-rooted inequalities that still exist in our society. It is not the morality of Blacks that are in question, but they're questioning. But here's the thing: Black people question our Black gay morality. So it says, I'm going to do argument number 2: discrimination against gays, lesbians, queers centers around morality, which is basically religion, right? And sexuality. Discrimination against Blacks is racial and holds great historical significance in America. So when they make those statements and stuff, so that means it puts us second, third, and fourth.
Right.
So what they're saying is we really should be fighting for Black rights, and maybe if we have some time or we have some energy or we have something left, then we'll come and we may help you fight for your rights or something, like that.
But you're not a priority.
Right. And they don't see the discrimination that happens, especially Black folks. Most heterosexual people in the United States, they do not see the racism and discrimination that happens to Black queers. Okay, because they see the white folks out there, right? But they don't think that that or they don't see that there's racism, that the white gays are not all of them, but there's a lot of them that are just as racist, just as just against black gays. There's places that they still won't let us in. They the stuff that they put in their profiles and dating apps and stuff. No blacks, no nigger. They can't put nigger in there no more. But they want to. But they want to. But no blacks, no darky. Or just different stuff that they say and do. Whatever, or how they keep us out, how they separate our neighborhoods and stuff. Where they can have this, and then we're still, not all of us, but we're still over here like that or whatever. But heterosexual people in general don't see that type of discrimination because they see, they'll see all the ones of us who be, like if we're at the clubs and hanging out and doing all this other stuff, and they look at that and they don't base our morality on that.
Right.
Not thinking about their own morality.
Right, because they cut up too.
And the way they cut up, they cut up everything we learned it from.
Exactly.
Okay. We didn't just a lot of, like I said, we said earlier, we learned some of this from our parents.
Right.
From, watching our grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, our friends,
like you said,
even in church.
It's heteronormative society. This is what we saw.
Right. And we mimic some of the same behavior. The only thing is their morality doesn't come in question the way ours does,
right?
Because our morality is seen as sinful, and it goes against God's law,
right?
But they overlook whatever sin is. They overlook their sin and morality, and judge us, and that might make them feel better. Oh, well, I got somebody else to judge. I ain't got to worry about myself right now because I can go judge them, and
it boosts them up in line to heaven,
Does it?
Yeah. The more mean they are to us, they get more up to the first class.
Right.
They get seated first.
Oh my God. Yeah, but it's like, see your own morality. Worry about your own, okay, and then let us worry about our morality, whatever. But like I said, y'all doing the same, and some stuff y'all doing that we ain't doing. It might be some stuff we doing that y'all ain't doing, but for the most part, society as whole do the same shit.
Because somebody mentioned, I think it was it Alico? Is that how you said? Okay, yeah, I think they had mentioned something about predators. Isn't it a fact that most predators are heterosexual? So the very thing the very things that they say, oh, y'all are so much worse than us, and y'all do all this crazy stuff or whatever. Well, what we can say is most of the predator, like children predators, are heterosexual,
right?
And that's, to me, that's low of the low.
I mean,
to harm a child.
Look at your religious leaders. The Catholic priests. Look at how many preachers and what do you call them, bishops and all that other type
apostles,
of stuff, who we find out that are they're married, have kids, whatever, and then as far as mostly men, or they're in relationships with women and stuff, and you're finding out that they're molesting these kids, they're putting them, sex trafficking, this abuse that they do to these kids and stuff, or and sometimes it's just not kids, they're after these sometimes these little kids, but they're after the teenagers, and sometimes these so-called heterosexual straight men, are out there abusing grown adult men and stuff, have killed them. When it comes to fight, like when they done found out that's this DL trade or whatever, or this pastor or somebody has been sleeping with this young, with this man, and they don't want nobody to find out, and they done kill. I read something a few weeks ago or something about, I think it was a pastor who was sleeping with his stepson.
Oh wow.
And this man is married, he was sleeping, and then I think one ended up dead, or whatever, the violence that came out of it or whatever, of being caught and found out and stuff, like that. So, people worry about your own morality,
right?
But I think we can equate any struggle or most struggles, to equality. If we're looking for equality and we're looking for the same rights as a human being as as everybody out there is, then we should be able to have both or all. because there's a lot that makes us all up. We have all type of things that makes us who we are, and then sometimes getting rid of one of those things can do harm. You know what I'm saying? To you or somebody else if you try to take away something that's a part of you.
Right.
And we can no more. To me, I can no more. I speak for myself. Like I said, I can no more take away my blackness and my gayness. Yeah, there are people out there. What the preacher and what they were saying like, well, because you can't hide your blackness, but actually some people can hide their blackness. There are some people who are black and you don't know that they're black and they're hiding it. You know,
that lady that was over, I think she was over not BET. She was over some black, and she wasn't even black. I can't think of her name. If I think of it, or maybe somebody know what I'm talking about. But I mean, she's very fair, colored. But girl, you're not black.
I mean, but there's lots of people. I mean, I have people in my family, because of all the Irish and all that's mixed up in my family, and then on my father and them side too, my grandmother, half white, half black, also, But on my mother's side, there was people who hid there that they looked white. You would never been able to know that they were white, and then they hid it. Okay. Wow. And there was one of them who was actually in the Olympics way back when, that was in the Olympics, and everybody thought he was white, but he wasn't, and but that's another story. But you can't. Some people can hide their blackness. Some people don't even want to be black.
Right.
But they're saying that because we can hide our gayness, no one would know that we're gay unless we are doing something obvious to let people know that we're gay or something, And I think they think is like what they see when they see people out at the gay pride parades or the clubs or something, and they see what they think is the feminine attitudes, the swishiness, or the clothes and stuff that they're wearing, or the ones who are putting on makeup and stuff like that, and or whatever.
All like that.
Yeah, and they probably think that all of us want to be women or something, like that. But
and mess with their kids.
And mess with their
the gay agenda.
But most gay men do not. Most gay men are not interested in kids,
right?
Or whatever. So that's more of a heterosexual thing.
See, when people think like this, what I disagree and don't like about it is that when you have that kind of mindset and you're putting out that kind of message, you don't leave room for people to just show up authentically, and just be their authentic self. I'd rather someone be the real them and not have to die down a part of them because I don't view it as important. Why do we want everyone to be alike? Why do we want everyone to be the same? I don't want to go outside and just see roses. I like the variety. I want to see. Well, you know a lot about the plants and stuff, but I want to see all the other stuff, the tulips, all that other stuff. And then also, I think that's one of the things that we're going into this world of AI. That's one of the things AI will not be able to do is be authentic and show all the different varieties of us and all the different makeups that we have or whatever, because AI is only going to give whatever you put in or whatever. And why would we want to live in a world like that? But maybe they do, because that's why they're pushing the AI stuff or whatever. They want to live in a world where it's it's cookie cut. It's got to be this and nothing else. Yeah, it's made for them.
Yeah, I find it ironic that how black folks, how they discriminate and can treat gay people, queer people or whatever, with all the shit that we went through, that we still go through in this world to get our rights, as black people, as women, as men, that they would turn the tables on us the same way that it's the exact same shit that was happening to them. Even though most people aren't being killed and beat and brutalized in this day and age, but there still are gays out there and queers out there that are being killed because they are queer or because they are trans, or they're still being discriminated in jobs, and
Right.
stuff, like that, because they are queer. They're still being discriminated against in religion, and because they are queer and they are gay. So for them to make those type of statements, it's false for one thing.
Because they think one is a choice,
right?
And one is who I, what I am,
right?
It's like we're not choosing this.
And like now, here's the thing. I said it before. If I had a choice to choose between gay and straight, I would choose gay. But most gay people don't say that. Most queer people say they would not choose to be gay or trans, or lesbian or anything. Like they would not choose it. They said, because they say, why would I choose this type of life? When I know it's going to be hurtful, I'm going to be discriminated, can even be killed or be, I'm going to be treated less than, I'm not going to be getting the same rights as everybody else. Why would I bring that type of pain and punishment on myself?
Right.
So most, probably 99.9% of any queer person you ask that question, they're going to say, I would probably choose straight, even though straight people's lives ain't that great.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, they have more privileges because, it's just the way society was set up for them, to give them the privilege of heterosexuality or whatever.
And I don't know how I would answer that question really, but what is going through my mind, I probably do know how to answer the question, but my point is the thing that I question is, why do you think your sexuality is going to change? Your just the very essence of who you are. You have different experiences because of your sexuality or whatever, but I think I would just want it just the way it is, because I don't think me being straight is gonna open any doors, I don't know. I just don't feel like one life is better than the other, so I just let it be what it's gonna be.
Right.
I don't see the benefit. I really don't see how my sexuality makes that big of a issue in how my life is going to turn. Like it's so much better over here. I don't see that. I see, I know there's discrimination. We're talking about it now or whatever. But I mean, I just, in my life, I just don't see how one would be better than the other.
So Deshaun says, okay, I got a question, and I'm just chilling in my single life. My cousin said, better be with a woman than a man to me, because I'm handsome. Straight people thought you didn't care about sexuality. I thought you didn't care about sexuality. Huh? I don't know. Okay, I got a question. And I'm just chilling in my single life. My cousin said, better be with a woman than a man to me. Well, a lot of straight people say that. I mean, my cousin said better be with a woman. So I think he's saying that his cousin told him that he should be with a woman instead of a man because he's so handsome. Why would he want to be with a man?
Yeah.
That's that.
Because he's saying, I want to be single, but then my cousin just came up, well, since you can't find no good man, go find you a woman.
Yeah,
that's what I said, because he said, my cousin said, find you a woman than a man, because I think you can get a woman. They always say that, like, why are you gay?
Yeah, I think I see it. I think that might be right. I think I don't know. He'd have to tell me. I think he's saying it's like that thing where well, you're a waste. What a waste. You're going to waste all these pretty beautiful black women out here, and you want to be with a man, whatever. And as good looking as you are, you can get in probably any woman you want, or most women that you want. So why would you choose a man over a woman, when you can have all of this? And so basically, when you go with a man, you're a waste. It's a waste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because but again, it goes back to it's not a waste, okay? Because somebody's going to get it,
right?
And just because if I'm straight and handsome doesn't mean that I would go for you, or whatever. Just like we don't go for every gay man that just because he's a gay man, or whatever, or a bisexual man or whatever. Or we don't go for them just because of how they look or feel. Sometimes we do, but or whatever. But most of us go for others. You know, there has to be other stuff there too.
And I think too, like, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying. Like, if I'm single, I guess it's because, you know, I'm just not having any luck or whatever with the men. So now you tell me to go to the women. How you know I'm a score big with them? Too? I mean, you know, it may be the same thing. Like, I mean, I'm not finding a good man. I may not find a good woman either. So, you know, that choice. I mean, I don't see how you can say, you know, one is going to be better than the other, because just like it's some crazy men or some, you know, dirty men or whatever. There's women that are you know, nasty and dirty, or, you know, they're not at the level, you know, that they're deadbeat or whatever. So you could find the same thing in either sex.
Yeah, here goes Deshaun. I don't know if he saw the video, I think he saw the video too, because I was watching something and then he commented on that same video that I have up here too. Okay. He had commented on it too, and I saw him do it. So that guy, like the black guy, whatever I said his name was, I forgot already. The honest guy, or whatever the hell they said. Smart guy. Yeah. So he said, you know, he in there talking about he don't give a shit about the rainbow or the LGBT people, but he's on there commenting about it.
Right.
Why are y'all always, if you don't like us and you don't have anything to do with us, why do you always have something to say about us or want to restrict our rights and stuff? If you're not concerned about us,
right? You
know, thou dost protest too much.
Right.
You know, we may need to question your sexuality, because a lot of DL guys, they do that where they're real adamant about gay rights and about gay people and not liking gay people. And those are the ones who are slipping around in the background, who are actually having sex with another man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they don't want people to know that. So in the front, they're going to marry a woman or date a woman, have, you know, or out there having sex with women, when actually in reality they really like having sex with a guy.
Right, exactly.
You know, but they're going to put all that out there in the public so that people think that they're straight. And a lot of straight black women fall for that. You know, they fall for that hardcore, over the top, toxic masculinity type stuff. Right. They fall for that, and they think they got them a straight man. You know, no, you just got what you got now is you got a man and you got some kids by him,
right? You
know, and a home, but you ain't got him, you know, because he's still out there on the down low doing that type of stuff.
Doing that.
You know, but you know, sometimes it's hard to get black women to open their eyes. Well, we don't need to open their eyes to it, because I ain't getting it. I ain't mixing up in the middle with that. But you know, you can tell them this type of stuff and they don't believe it. You know, and then some of them also perpetrate that shit on us too, you know, that hyper masculinity type stuff, you know, but we're out there. We are out there, folks, fighting for, I think gay people are out there fighting for when we're fighting for our rights and stuff, we're fighting for everybody's rights. We're fighting for the same rights that you all have, you know, to live and breathe and be free, you know. And then, but we're out there when shit happens with these black men, you know, and they're, you know, and we're getting shot, arrested, beaten and stuff, you know, like that. Yeah, the black women are out there on the front lines fighting, but guess who else is out there fighting? We are. You know, you might not think it sometimes, because y'all might think that we are heterosexual or straight and we're out there fighting. But a majority of those black guys that are out there fighting for when shit happens to us or whatever, that's us queers. Okay. Right. A lot of the people who are you know, fighting for legislation, you know, and stuff, you know, like that. We're not only fighting for legislation for our queer rights, we're fighting for the legislation for our black rights and, stuff, and our right to exist too. To me, they all go together, and I don't see one, you know, over the other. If you do something to one, you're doing it to the other. So if you're hurting me for being black, you're also hurting me for being gay.
I think they choose this sexuality card because it's just easy. It's easy to go there because they know that, you know, a very large segment of society has an issue with homosexuality. So they pull that issue, but that because there's so many other sins or whatever they could pull out. But to them, they're like very minor, because you could also pull out the cheating thing. Baby, it's cheaters of every color, every race. You can pull out the adultery thing or whatever. I mean, there's so many cards you can pull out, but the first card they want to pull out is the homosexuality card, because it's just their go-to,
Right.
you know, and it's easy for them to get a lot of traction on that, because a lot of people do still have feel a certain way about it or whatever. So yeah, they're always gonna pull that card and then say, "Oh, I don't even care nothing about the rainbow."
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, you're interested for you to even bring it up, because like you said, the host never did bring it up, and like you brought in homosexuality or whatever, because it's an easy card for them to play,
and it'll bring in viewers, just like the religious people. You can talk about homosexuality, trans, and all that stuff, and it's going to bring in the money.
Right.
Okay. The offering plate might gonna be full that day, you know,
Yeah.
and they're gonna keep sending money into you, because they like to see homosexuals as immoral and going against God's law of nature,
Right?
You know, or whatever. But then here goes John again. He says Diddy is not a nice person.
Oh,
but John, are you a nice person? You know, just because you're in here, typing, commenting on whatever here, but you might portray yourself as a nice person on the outside, but from the comments and stuff that you have posted early in this video, you don't sound like a nice person to me. You sound to me like you are perpetrating a nice person on the outside, but when you get behind closed doors, or whatever, there might be all type of shit going on in your closet, and that's just my opinion. Or whatever, just from the stuff that you have posted, it doesn't sound, you're posting all of your Jesus rhetoric and stuff like that, which is fine. We can discuss it and talk about it, but there's something else underlying behind the reasons why you're posting that stuff other than Jesus Christ, because I don't believe Jesus Christ would be spurting this type of rhetoric that you have been spurting throughout our show, from the beginning. But it's okay. Keep going. Go right ahead. Here we go. Nature loves variety, but Jesus hates it. How do you know what Jesus likes or hates? Nature loves it. Well, we're nature. Everybody's nature,
Right.
But they, he probably believes in the Adam and Eve story, and not people really got here, but people believe what they want to believe. And then here goes Deshaun. He says, oh yeah, speaking of children, there was a pastor named Alfonso, and he had this kid which is 15 years old. He had sex with him on the golf course in Florida. The cop saw it and he said, why are your pants down? I just saw that. I just saw that the other day too. Yeah, but that's what's happening out there. And then the preacher was like, oh, what did he say? I forgot. It was very interesting though. But yeah, he had said something about why his pants was down. It was crazy.
Oh.
And then here goes John. He says, I am an atheist. You don't know shit.
No.
Well, okay then, atheist.
Well, he has revealed himself. We knew it would come out eventually.
Oh, he says this. He says, I am showing stuff. He says, I don't do things as Diddy did. I didn't say you did, but you may be who the hell knows what goes on behind people's closed doors. Yeah, Diddy is a hot mess.
Oh, very.
And he says, I am showing stuff. He says, I support the gay community. I am lower than a homo in the Christian eyes. Because he's an atheist? No, you're not lower than a homo, because if you're heterosexual, they'll still give you that pass. Okay.
I don't even know why you would even view yourself as low. Like that's a problem right there, that you even see yourself as being lower than anything.
Here's where he says, I don't know shit. Well, I didn't know you were an atheist, so but whatever. The stuff that you were spewing, you know, it's still, you know, you're still on in the same line as the religious leaders and some of these black people out here who are spewing against homosexuals. He's just laughing out. And then here goes Slick. Let's see what Slick says. Religious folks do despise atheists. She said religious folks do despise atheists.
Yeah, some of them do.
They do despise atheists.
Yeah, some of them do, but then some of them come. They know that they've awakened or whatever, and so some of them they're still gonna try to convert you, but they don't see you as being like this bad person.
They don't see you as being immoral. They don't see you, you know, they don't see you as being immoral like they see queer people.
Yeah,
you know,
because
they don't take away their rights.
Because some preachers have changed over the time, and some of them have realized that, you know, they need to walk in more grace. So they see everyone, you know, as equals and just don't know it. And maybe you need Jesus to reveal it to you or whatever. So yeah, there are some, but yeah, there are some that despise them, baby. But you're okay with us, John. I mean,
yeah. You know, he's okay with being an atheist, but you know, some of the views that he has spout out there, I don't agree with. He can have his views, right? You know, because people can have their own opinions,
and that's what it's for.
And he has his own life experiences, which is fine, you know. But him being an atheist, now if he's a homosexual queer atheist, then you got now you got another there. Right. And if you're a black queer atheist, then you got three or four strikes going against you, you know, or whatever. But if you're just a white man atheist, you know, you still have all your privilege. Okay.
Well, I said in the beginning he was just a troll and whatever. And I see that he put on one of them. I was joking.
He was joking about what?
I don't know. He said I was joking.
He was joking that he's not an atheist.
I think the whole thing has just been a trolling. I mean, we have our first troll. Is this our first troller?
He says on live. He says Christians have not on live. We've had a troll. We've had a couple of trolls before. Yeah, we've had religious fanatics coming quite a bit. And then we had that lady coming in talking about her vagina, talking about her uterus and stuff, you know, like that. So we get trolls. We get, but he says Christians have privilege. Yeah, Christians have privilege. Christians have a lot of privilege. That's why they're allowed to discriminate and do some of the stuff they do against people who they deem immoral or not living up to God's principles and stuff. Even in I mean, hell, just look at the tax credits and all the stuff that churches and stuff get, not having to pay taxes and all the, you know, given land or gifted this and stuff, you know, like that. Even the laws, they have laws and stuff, you know, where it's supposed to be a separation of church and state, but they're still in there, you know, giving church lessons, or you got to pray before this or whatever, you know, just all type of stuff, you know. Christians have privilege,
and you can be a black gay Christian. You know,
right? Just like white men and white women have higher privilege in society, and black straight men and black straight women have privilege in society over gay people. Okay, just like white gay men have privilege over black gay queers men, you know, whatever in this United States society. Okay, so that they do have privilege, but atheists also have privilege depending on where you fall in that bucket. If you are a white male or female atheist, you're going to have more privilege than the rest of us here in society. Okay, so he says Christians get to go to heaven. If there's a heaven.
Should get back to the show.
Yeah, let's get back to,
because now he done said I'm going to Disneyland when I die. Okay.
The religious stuff was funny, was it not? Let's see what Deshaun is saying. And then on top of that, we had WAC 100 talking about Young Buck doing things with Danny Boy was the other singer, and he talked about the men's business. Straight people say, I don't want to know. Oh, they know. They're in there watching and stuff. They just don't want you to know that they're looking at stuff. Right. Just like they just like you take these black men with some of these TV shows and stuff where there's gay people in there, gay men in there having sex, and they're like, I ain't watching that shit.
Right.
I ain't watching that shit, but they secretly are watching that shit because then they go comment on stuff or whatever. And the only way you would know that is if you watched it or somebody that gave you a clip of it and stuff for you to end up talking about this stuff, or you're lurking around, sneaking around somewhere, seeing what gay men and queers and everybody's doing. So they are. You know what I mean? They are paying attention. Whatever. They just like they just don't want you to think that is because that'll mess with men, with black men. That'll mess with their heterosexuality. Their masculinity is what it mess with.
The masculinity.
And they don't want you to think that They don't want you to. They don't want to be demasculated. Right. Demasculated.
Because I'm gonna go in the room full of my homeboys talking about a show I watched that got gay characters or whatever. They're gonna be like, "Well, you like that kind of stuff? Like, what's wrong with you?"
It's just like they say they don't watch. Like straight women. They like looking at gay porn, right? But a straight man. I'll just talk about black men because I know some straight white men who said they don't mind looking at gay porn. But black men, they gonna tell you, straight black men are gonna say, I don't look at no, I ain't looking at no. But you in there having sex with a woman, and there's another man. If you have a three-way or 3 or 4 of y'all are on this women, because y'all are good at wanting to have orgies and threesomes and stuff with women, and other men are involved. For you to say that you don't see that man stuff hanging down, you ain't looking at his butt, you ain't looking at all the stuff he's doing to that woman and stuff, and they're getting off on that too. They just don't want you to say that. So all this crap about I ain't paying no attention to gay people, I don't like gay people and stuff. No, y'all all up in our stuff. You all up in our culture. Right. You all up in our booty.
And then have the nerve to go and try to remake it.
Right.
And get all your homeboys. Like, man, I saw this video. Like, if they did it, we can do it. That's your way to get them to get in on it. Because secretly, you always want to see your other straight homeboys.
Right. Here's the point. So Deshaun says, so when a person goes to jail, did whatever they did, why don't you talk about those girls that were sexually harassed, abused, instead of talking about the men? Because man on man sex is considered worse than anything. Not to all heterosexual people and black people or white people or whatever, because there's a whole lot out there that's not like that at all. But a lot of them are, and those are the ones that we be hearing this rhetoric and stuff spewing from them, or the stuff that they be doing, to try to harm us or whatever and take away our rights. But they will go and they may speak on what a man is doing, has sexually done to a woman, raped her, did all this other type of stuff, but they still see that as something that's forgiven, that God can forgive, you can repent, and stuff, like that. They don't see, even though they don't say you can repent your sin and not be gay, or whatever. They still see us as immoral, right? And we don't deserve to have the same rights and stuff as they do, right? And we shouldn't be fighting. Black people shouldn't be fighting for queer rights. We really should only be fighting for black rights. But if we don't fight for the queer rights, then we're not going to have no rights at all. We might get rights as a black person, right? But we're not going to have any rights. We'll still be back in the damn dark ages, of still hiding in the closet, or sneaking around, going into the dungeons and bathhouses and stuff, like that. If we were to be on that type, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I think both struggles can be intertwined, and we all work together, because it shouldn't be just because this isn't my experience that I can't, be on board with, how this person may perceive them, or I even force them, I even pressure them to pick one over the other. It shouldn't even be that way. I mean, it should just be, whatever is important to me, whatever, you know, I see myself as, because there's going to be a whole lot that throughout my life that I go through that's going to shape me, and I become the person. I may just be the you know, the father and the uncle today, but you know, over my life, I'm gonna be the father, the uncle. You know, you keep growing in things or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
He said T.S. Madison. Oh, so he must have saw he must have been watching Back Talk with T.S. Madison and Craig the Writer Stewart.
Hey, Craig.
He says T.S. Hey T.S. Maddie. Hey Craig. It says T.S. Madison had to address one of the people in her comments between her and Craig, and she said you always had to make a sword discord amongst the brother in that sin. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it, but he said that one of the comments between her and Chris, she said you always have to make a sword discord. Okay. Yeah, I think there is a scripture that talks about that, but
let's see what Aleko says. Aleko says, I literally thought about this a lot. They are scared of us, not because they scared we're gonna beat them up, but because they scared of how many people are queer. It is actually fascinating, really. Yeah. Yeah, and there's even more out there that's not out the closet that nobody knows about,
right? You
know, or whatever. As far as like how many gay people, just how many gay queer people are in the United States, and I think it's somewhere about 1.2 million, or I don't know. I mean, I would say it's more.
The downloads.
Yeah, because there's. I would say it's more because it says there are many people who are LGBTQ plus and Black, an estimated 1.2 million adults in the United States identify as Black and LGBTQIA. Well, that's just the Black folks. And when you start putting all the other ethnicities, you know, the whites, the Hispanics, and
and the ones that would admit to it.
Yeah. So
because they probably had some people and they didn't admit to it, and they could have been in that number.
So it says intersectionality is a framework rooted in Black feminist scholarship and activism that highlights how social conceptualizations of race, class, sexuality, gender, and other social categories are interconnected and shape access to power, resources, and opportunity. With social justice roots, intersectionality has shed light on the intersecting structural dimensions of oppression and privilege. So, John, if you're still listening, you know what I mean? So, see what we got up here in these comments. And then,
you know what? And just to compare it to Black people, I mean, you know, you can be Black, but you could also not want people in your private, life or your relationships, and that's basically what you're doing to us. You want to be in our in our bedrooms, basically, and tell us which one we should choose. But you wouldn't want no one doing that to you. You have issues with abortion. You have issues with, unfair pay or whatever. You have all these issues with you or whatever. So why aren't you? Why is it different for you and it's another thing for us or whatever? You can come over here and tell us what we should put first, but we don't come over there and tell you what you should put first.
And they wouldn't allow us to.
Right, exactly.
And they wouldn't allow us to.
Right.
So let's see what Slick says here. I think they also scared of losing influence on how people love, have children, and take pride in who they, she, he are. Most definitely. I have heard. I've heard them say stuff, like that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lot that goes along with a lot of white people right now too. How they fear Black people. I don't even think they fear us. They just, I think they're more just worried about, and the reason why they go out there and want to vote for a Trump, and ignore all the other principles they say that they possess and they have, and they'll go out there is because I think they're scared. I think it's because they're scared that they're going to become in the minority.
Right.
And their privilege would be taken away. Mm-hmm. They're not going to get to have all the stuff that they, that they're used to getting since the inception of the United States.
Right.
Well, and I'll say not all of them, because there was poor Blacks and stuff who didn't. Poor whites and stuff back in that in the inception of the United States too, who they didn't allow to have rights and all that other stuff. But when they started pitting them against the Black folks, so they can get them on their side, so they can have more people voting and on their side, that's when a lot of white folks started getting those privileges. Right. Because before it was reserved for the landowners and the rich and the kings and queens and stuff, like that. It wasn't really poor white people didn't have privilege and stuff back then, but they gained it. Right. When they needed them, to help fight this civil war. Exactly. And to, help bring them on their side. Right. So they can still oppress and keep the Black folks in slavery. But yeah. And then I'm gonna play, and then I'm gonna get back to y'all comments here in a second. I'm gonna play this other video of this guy who was rebuking Donnie Swaggart, the preacher.
Okay.
Okay.
The statement I'm about to make, I'm going to be called a racist.
I think I need to take some blood pressure medicine before I watch this video.
But somebody needs to stand up and speak to the Black church.
First of all, if anybody's going to speak to the Black church, it ain't going to be you. I can see where this is going. Lord, please be with me right now in the name of Jesus.
When the largest African-American Pentecostal denomination, when that leader stands up and said, I endorse that woman.
That woman? Let me stop before I cuss. Sir, and I say this, sir, with all due disrespect, that woman is your vice president of the United States.
And the Black church votes predominantly for the party that is anti-God. What's going on here?
What you're witnessing here is white supremacy within the Christian church. Oh, yes, it exists. It is real. It is here. White supremacy exists within the church. Who is this man to stand in a pulpit, proclaim that he's a man of God, and chastise the Black church and tell us that we're ungodly? That is true white supremacy right there, that he has such privilege, that he thinks he has such privilege, such power, such authority, that he can point a finger and say that the Black church is ungodly.
If 1860 was today, they wouldn't say a word about preachers preaching against slavery.
If 1860 was today, we wouldn't say a word about anything out of fear for our lives. We would be hung, we would be lynched for just speaking out of place. If 1860 was today. Matter of fact, it feels like 1860.
So then why will not the African American church stand up for righteousness?
Now, the next thing I'm about to say, I'm not saying this about all white churches, because there are many white churches that I love and respect, and y'all know I rock with y'all. But for those other white churches that I'm talking to right now, you see, the truth is, the Black church has been standing up for righteousness long before the white church. When the pews of the white church was filled with slave masters, the Black church was praying for their freedom. When the white church believed that we were just 3/5 of a human being, the Black church was telling us to still hold our head up high and keep our dignity. When members of the white church didn't want our children in their schools, the Black church was fighting for our schools to be integrated. When the white church had people like Bull Connor in their pews, the Black church had people like Martin Luther King and John Lewis who were marching for our freedom and our equality. And even today, while the white church is trying to hold on to their guns and tell us that the immigrants are the problem, the black church is standing with those who have lost loved ones due to police violence. The black churches are ones who are praying for peace in our communities. So for all the Trump supporters out there, you're going to vote for Trump in 2 weeks. You may not agree with this pastor, but he's sure enough on your team. Y'all wear the same uniform. Y'all run the same plays. This is your teammate.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's good. Speaking of church, like, what do you want? I mean, like, what matters to you? What is more important to you, being black or being a Christian or whatever?
Right.
We don't make them make that choice. So
Right.
why do they want us to make that choice?
Yeah.
Why can't we just, have our whatever, area we fit in, and it just be us making our choices that for our highest good and our greater good for how we want to see our lives, and we don't dictate it on you, so why dictate it on us? But yeah, so it's like the church, they kind of do that to us, though. They want us to choose.
Well, society puts that on us too, because we don't go out there and make them choose. We can't even go out there and make them accept our homosexuality, our queerness,
Right.
Or whatever. Because if we go out there and try to fight for some rights or whatever, it's like we're pushing our agenda on them,
Right.
Or we only got a few. We got a few things compared to what heterosexuals have on TV,
Right.
and in the movies and
Right.
film and music and all of this type of stuff. Even though it's gay people who write all that shit,
Right.
Most of all that writing and the music and all the stuff that heterosexuals out there listen to, it's mostly gay people and queers who are with their artistic selves out there,
Right.
writing
for
and
you.
doing all this
Right.
stuff, whatever for y'all, for your enjoyment. But we don't go out there and try to take away their rights or anything and stuff, like that. But they're always, not all, but they're always, it seems like there's a large majority of them that are constantly got their damn foot
Right.
up our ass.
Right.
You know what I mean? They constantly get your foot off my neck.
Right.
Okay, and let me live, and make a life for myself the way that you have made for yourself, whether
Right.
it's happy, unhappy, dysfunctional, whatever. Give us the same rights to do that stuff too, without you throwing all that, morality brouhaha on us, to make
Right.
us feel guilty or shame into, becoming what you think you want us to be or what you think God wanted us to be.
Right.
And people, you can have your religious beliefs and believe whatever you want and stuff, but if you want to go to the God thing, nobody knows what God,
Right.
if truly what God want, whatever.
Right.
He made people, okay? He gave people the right to, he or she or it,
Right.
whatever,
Right.
gave us the right to choose, or to be who we want to be, and stuff, like that. They talk about love. The main commandments, the main stuff in that Bible is about love. It's not all that bullshit that y'all talking about with linen, not eating pork, Sodom and Gomorrah, so all this whatever stuff. That's not the main point. That's not, that's not what Jesus and the Bible really has talked about.
Right.
What they want you to understand.
Right.
But y'all are coming in here inflicting your own morals and values and stuff on us. And that's not really what that Bible is about.
Right.
And we're not in there trying to take your Bible away from you.
Right.
I know y'all come with this bullshit like we're trying to push our agenda, but it's your agenda. That's y'all agenda that you're pushing on us.
Right.
And then Aleko says slick and salacious. Oh my God, right. It's like when they say they don't want kids to see sexuality. And it's crazy to me because we all see heterosexuality in kids' TV shows. And now I know that goes against the religious right because they don't have much control over that now, because they used to have a lot of control over the airwaves of you can't show this, you can't say that now. But everything you watch now has all type of sex in it.
Right.
It has all type of cursing, violence, sexuality stuff. And it's mostly the stuff we see on TV and films and stuff like that. It's mostly heterosexuals on there having sex with each other. We see their naked titties.
Right.
We see their naked booty.
Right.
We see their naked dinky dank.
Right.
Their dick. You know what I'm saying? we see y'all mostly. We see them y'all hunching on each other.
Right.
You know, we have a little bit out there, but it's nowhere near on the scale that y'all have.
Right.
You know, y'all can kiss and hold hands in public, and even though we can, you know, we're supposed to be afforded that now too, but we still run the risk of being cursed out, harmed, or abused or killed or something. You know, y'all not gonna get that if y'all kiss or hug or do anything in person or express your heterosexuality. We still are. You know, we still can get that. You know, and a lot of queers are still aware of that, and that's why some of them we still hide our sexuality, you know, like that. So,
like sometimes when people are picking like cruises and stuff like that, or just out of the country trips, they have to take that in consideration. You know, can I be gay? You know, in this country, in some countries, it's still, you know, it's against the law.
Right.
Like, because I think in Dubai is one of them, and I think Jamaica doesn't like gay, you know. So it's like we still run the risk.
Not all Africa. Right. There's parts of Africa that, you know, they worship that. You know, that's in their culture and they like it. But there's parts of Africa that are totally against it. Yeah. You know, but there's nations that are against it. But, you know, and then there's some that are for it. Some of them are their higher priests and priestesses and stuff. You know, so but yeah, and then if you look at all the music, all the videos and stuff out there, all the music and stuff out there now, ain't nothing but sexuality. Right. All that twerking and you know, grinding and, you know, no clothes on and stuff, you know, like that, which I like it. I watch it. You know, I like to watch a booty sagging and grinding and doing all that stuff or whatever. But that's what's out there. Yeah. You know, and the kids, the children are watching that. Yeah. And you people, a lot of you people out there are hypocrites, you know, because you're letting your children. There's people from work again. They're letting they let their kids watch it. Right. Some of them participated with their kids. Some of them make the videos with their kids. Right. You know, so
they definitely imitate what they see.
Right, and the kids imitate. You know what I'm saying? So they're putting it out there, but then you'll come and talk about our morality. If we kiss in public or hold hands or have sex in a TV show or whatever, then all of a sudden that's the most worst thing. Demonic. You know, how can they put that on TV? Or they're taking over. Everything now is gay. They're putting gay characters in everything. Right. When all we seen growing up, you know, and all we see now mainly is y'all. Right. And y'all are having the sex and doing all that stuff in the movies and the films and ass out twerking. Right. Or y'all, you know, walking through the grocery stores and all that stuff with, you know, with your ass sagging or your midriffs and all that, you know, that's all sexuality shows. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And not saying that anything's wrong with it, you know, whatever in the society that we live in now. Back then that never would have applied. The religious right would have been on that, and you know, so and so. But now they can't really do much about it because it makes money and stuff. But they are, you know, straight people will allow that type of stuff, you know, or whatever. They think that's normal and that's okay. But then we go do something, you know, like that. Then all of a sudden it's, you know, you know, what people are gearing, you know, they're gearing more towards gay people than black folks. Right. But we should still be focusing on our issues and not worrying about their issues. Right. You know. But anyway, let me get back up here to these comments. It's a bunch. Let's see what I can get in here.
And not just realizing that all that a person, whether they're straight, gay, or whatever, and all the you know, facet parts of them, it all defines them, and one part of me shouldn't have to compete with the other. You know what I mean? My blackness shouldn't have to compete with my gayness. My gayness shouldn't have to compete with my faith. You know, and on and on and on and on. Everything should just be a totality of me, but still they're separate, and they still should be, you know, be in a place where I can actually, you know, exhibit them and maybe even, I don't know, you may learn something from it. You know, I think a lot of them, the reason why they're still thinking the way they are, because they haven't really just sat down and listened to us and let you know, hear our story and the things that we've experienced and what we're going through. And when you actually have that conversation, I bet you'll realize that we are more alike than different.
We are. Everybody, believe it or not, gay people, me and my friend Raphael, we had this discussion yesterday, you know, because I went out, hung with him yesterday, and he's straight, you know, got wife and kids, but me and him were having this conversation yesterday about exactly what you just said. So, and say it again.
So basically, I was just saying that, and I was reading a little bit from my notes too, is that, you know, how, where did it go?
And then I'll read Jay and Joe's comment.
Okay. I mean, how they try to compare and say that, you know, and not see the differences that everyone has, and that you can bring all that to the table, and that we're not all like by John. And that we're not all like a monolith or whatever. And one area of my being or my essence doesn't have to compete with the other. You know what I mean? I can be in a place where all that can show. I can show up authentically and be accepted, be heard, or whatever. And I think a lot of times too is that we get in these circles. We get in these circles that I think they fear. You know, they fear like what all we bring to the table. And I think because they haven't taken the time to listen and learn from us and hear our experiences.
They don't want to.
And like I said, and I believe if we had those conversations, you will realize that we're more alike than different. And so, yeah.
I wonder, I don't know this for sure or whatever, but sometimes I get the impression sometimes with like Black people, they think if they follow some of the same crap that white heteronormative people follow and do, that they think they'll be more accepted, and that's going to get them more privilege in society, which Black heterosexual people do still have privilege. You have privilege over gay people. I don't know if you have privilege over gay white people.
Right.
Now you may over some, but most of them have a lot of privilege. So I don't know about that, but you still have your privilege over Black gay people, queers, okay? And y'all use it against us, whatever. So, but it says, I really hate how Jay and Joe says, I really hate how some church people use their religion to push hate, negativity, and do the most ungodly things. So crazy to me. Most definitely. And they do. They're hypocrites, not all of them, because there's some very good Christians out there. There's people out there who aren't Christians who are very good too. There's some very good churches out there that actually help and they promote love and all that other stuff, and they're not pushing that type of hate. But there's a whole majority of churches out there that push that. There's a majority of, there's a lot of Black activists who push that type of rhetoric, just like the guy that we showed earlier. But there's a lot of Black people who push that rhetoric, but they also want you to accept them for what they say, and accept that type of rhetoric and stuff, like that. And then in the next breath they'll say, but I love you, I love you, God loves you, and I love you, but I hate the sin. And then they're doing, like they say, they're doing every damn thing under the sun. Go open their door and see what's going on inside the house. Some of them are abusing their kids. Some of the men are beating the shit out of their wives, cheating. Some of the women are cheating. The men are cheating. Some of them are molesting their kids or other people, or stealing, fraud. All type of shit is going on in this world, And then they're worried about this. So,
get your priorities in order.
And let me see here.
Loving all these comments.
Yeah, John left. Bye, John. Thanks for joining us. He
was our chuckle for the day.
Yeah. Was he our chuckle for the day?
Yeah, he was our chuckle for the day.
Was he?
He didn't know it, but he was. Right.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he was our chuckle.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm gonna go through
comments.
Yeah, I'll go through their comments, and then when you come back, we'll give a little shout out to KKMS. Promote their stuff that's going on with them. And then let me see. I'll get down here. I see Slick has commented some more. Let me get up and see what Deshaun says, and we'll get back down here to Slick. And then on the flip side, these straight people will say, "What did gay people do for the black community? Why aren't you with the black community again?" Here's the catch-22. Yeah, and gay people, queer people do stand with the black community, and especially especially black gays. There's some, like white gays. There are some that, white queers. There are some that do that or whatever, and sometimes they do it like out in public, but they don't really practice what they preach in the background, or whatever. But not all. But most black queers, they're going to fight for whatever rights there are in the black community, and but we don't get that same thing from them. We'll get some of them, but the majority of them, they're not going to fight for us. They may say stuff, on blogs and channels and stuff, like that, and watch your content and make comments and stuff or whatever. But most of them are not out there fighting for gay, queer, like trans, whatever rights, or and then some of them will vote on the legislation to for protection and stuff of gay people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But because I have seen a lot of that where they want to, they still want black people still want gays, black gays to have fair treatment, and not be killed or abused,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But they don't actually actively show up and vote for most of our rights and stuff, or out there protesting and stuff, like that. But I have seen it, but it's not on the scale that we do for them. And then
and that whole thing, what the gay people do for the black community, baby. we're the best dancers. Like most choreographers are black gay men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're hairdressers. Some chefs. I mean, we
run the spectrum of all the things that we provide to keep this society running.
Yeah.
And without gay people here,
Right,
then you're not going to have a lot of stuff. Society
baby.
Society be a sad place for as much as we contribute to this world.
And while we sitting here on a Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
let's go to the church, baby. The songs that y'all sing every Sunday were written by gay black men. The musicians are black gay men. The choir director is a black gay man. Your praise leader is a black gay. I mean, don't be trying to question what the black gay people do for the community. No, ma'am.
Oh, that's interesting, Sean. That's like, it says, and then on top of that, here's another thing. Why do straight people want to play a gay character that's against God? Why do you want to impersonate a gay person?
That is a good
one, because they do get on there, and a lot of them, sometimes they play the gay character better than the gay character,
right?
Or whatever, and they'll get on there and play us or whatever.
Right.
It's
very
not
convincing.
That could be like, and it could be like gay baiting and stuff too,
Yeah.
Or whatever. But they're just playing the role.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they don't want to give us a role because we are gay, even though here's the thing. We have played straight roles and they didn't know we were gay or lesbian or whatever. They just assumed we were heterosexual. They gave us the role.
Right.
Sometimes when they find out that you're gay, they'll take that role away from you. Or they won't give you a straight role if they know you're gay because they think you can't play it like a straight person.
Right.
And here's the catch 22 to that. Some of those ones who are making those rules and won't let a gay person play or won't give them the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are gay. They are the gay queer themselves, and on the DL, and all that type of stuff.
So they're being judged.
Right. and they think, or they think, well, the money makers are the straight people, you know, this actor or this actress or whatever, and then so they'll go against their own self of who they are and discriminate against a gay person or a queer person, right? Like it's like internalized, and some of them do have internalized homophobia because some of them are out there, you know, they can be married or have girlfriends and stuff too, but then they're using them as a front to make themselves be straight, just like actors and actresses can have beards to make, you know, and they're really gay or straight, but they use these men and women as beards to make people, I mean, they're gay, but make people think that they're straight. So they can get roles and keep continuing to get roles and stuff, you know, like that. It's just like with the music videos and stuff. People think there's no gay queer people in these black music videos, and you know, and a lot of those hip hop artists and rappers and stuff, a lot of them are DL, right? You know, a lot of them are DL. You know, just how, you know, they just way they portray themselves. People think, oh, that's masculine or whatever, but in the background, they want they booty pluck, you know, or they want to pluck yours.
Most of Tyler Perry fans, y'all have went to go see these movies for you know years that he's been putting them out or whatever, and your favorite character, you know, he always gonna have some fine sexy men in there. Your favorite character that you think, oh, I want him, but he don't want you, sister. He want, you know, he want the man sitting next to you or whatever. So you think, and
Deshaun, the church is made up of a lot of narcissistic people. Even the preachers in them a lot of them are narcissistic. Yes. You know, and that's how they can control other people in the church too with their narcissistic ways and get you all trauma bonded to them. Shit. Right. You know, because there's a lot of trauma bonding going on in the church. Yes. So not only that, there's young dudes out there trying to do gay pranks on each other, thinking that shit is funny. Yeah, we had that on our show a few weeks ago. That was called when we did our gay baiting, right? No, that wasn't that one. That was the one when we did it on why do black men think everything is gay? Right. That was one of our shows.
And also, you know what? Thinking, and this might not be the route that he was going, but also that red balloon thing too. I feel like that's us. Because what was this point? It's that's us hurting. Was it about us hurting each other or something like that?
Who said that?
The last statement that you had put up
from Deshaun.
Yeah. What was it?
This right here.
Yeah, do gay prank. To me, that's a gay prank show as well, and it's like that's not funny because they'll put and they say the rudest things. They're so mean. They're so mean. Oh, why you didn't pick him? Oh, because he old. I mean, you know, they're so superficial and mean, and I think that is so hurtful.
And then they can say and do all of that type of stuff, but then they get upset when Saucy Santana comes out and says something about women wanting to be, that gay men do it better than women or something, or wear makeup or whatever better. And then all of a sudden you got Claudia Jordan and a lot of women going ballistic and stuff, but they can say whatever they want about us, right? You know, whatever. And it's not all women, you know, whatever, you know, because, you know, like one of my best friend, she's a woman, shit, and been friends with her for over 30 years. But those, you know, there's those people out there who do that type of stuff, you know, and they can say whatever they want, and it's almost like they can say and do whatever they want to us, and if we say something about them, they're just offended, right? You know, and that's wrong, and we're pushing an agenda or something, you know, like that. Right. What does Slick have to say here?
It all and thus you should have be considered one whole piece. No room for them to insert themselves into spaces not meant for them.
Yeah. And consider the whole person. No room for them to insert themselves into spaces. Yeah. You know, if you're not gay, right, if you're not queer, right, you know, then why are you all up in our B? Right. You know, why are you all up in our B and worried about what we're doing, who we're sleeping with, whether we're immoral, whether we're going to hell or heaven or, you know, or whatever. Why are you up? You know, why do you think you need to save our soul?
Right.
You know, work on your own. You know, get your shit right, get your house right first before you go getting into somebody else and telling us how we should act or how we should be.
Yeah.
You know, or are we taking over? You know, are black people, you know, paying too much attention to gay rights and stuff, and not paying enough attention to black rights and stuff, you know, like that. You know, why are you all up in our cookies?
Right. And then to even go back to like the movie thing, why wouldn't you want a gay person to play the gay role? Wouldn't that be more convincing to you? Like, why you discriminate in that way because you think a straight person, you know, it's like you just don't want us there at all. Because I could play that, I'm sure I could play that gay role better than this straight person could, or whatever. But you just vile, just hateful.
And I said, I don't think black people or gay people want to get into who's worse bullshit battle. I would assume it is hardest to be gay and black. Other than that, it's hard to be different than a white straight male. And Krista Del Femine, she, you know, I took that quote from her. Yeah, I did. You know, whatever. So, what is Deshaun saying here? But those white people have more problems than anything before because they did the exact same thing on their own. And there was a lot of heartbreak and a lot of crime because those women saw. I think he continued it. Because those people saw there has been sleeping with man because it didn't work. But those white people have more problems than anything before because they did the exact same thing on their own. Well, yeah, they've been inflicting harm on each other since the inception of the world. Yeah. You know, even though white people wasn't around, you know, so it's really black folks, you know, who really started inflicting, you know, with all these wars and taking over land and stuff, you know, like that back in the ancient time. You know, when we were still somewhere in between Neanderthal and human or whatever, you know, as we started progressing or whatever, and then moving into other lands. But because actually you know, as you started getting back into some of the ancient time or whatever, the kings and queens and stuff back in then really were black. You know, the pharaohs and stuff, those were really black and stuff. And as time goes, you know, and as people start moving into other, you know, crossing the continents and as divides and stuff started combining and stuff, that's where people started becoming other ethnicities other than black. You know what I'm saying? That's where the skin started lightening up, and then people started becoming, you know, lighter or white, what people consider Caucasian. You know, and you started getting into the that's when you started getting into the Roman empires and stuff, you know, like that, where they were very vicious, right, and killing each other and doing that to their own people, just like the Israelites and Jews and all them. They did all that to their own people, right, you know, and stuff, you know, like that also. And then black people, we also did some of the same stuff. Right. So the human race carries on and does the same shit to each other and stuff. It doesn't, sometimes it doesn't even matter which ethnicity you belong to, because in the black culture, a lot of the black folks are doing the same stuff to us black gays as the white folks have done to all of us black folks, you know, over time, over history. You know, the suppression, the slavery, the taking away your rights, and you know, the brutality and stuff. And black people are inflicting that same shit on us black gays.
And I think the black church is one of the biggest slave grounds, because now the pastor and all those in leadership or whatever, they become the slave master, and they put it on the black people in their church. So it's like, you done took what the white man was doing to us, and now you're doing it to each other. Because now you know there's a hierarchy in the church now, and you know, you better not go to no other pastor. You got to go to me. It's like, your everything becomes that pastor. And that's control. That's manipulation.
Right.
And that's the very thing that the whites were doing to blacks back then. So we just took that and just changed the characters.
Right. Basically, that's what it is. So we're gonna take just a little break here so Charles can shout out KKMS, and then we'll come back and have a few more things, and then in the live. Hey Alvin. Hey Alvin Watkins.
Hey Alvin. All right. Well, as you saw, those are our friends from the Distinguished Gentlemen of KKMS. They are local promoters here in Dallas, Texas. So if you're ever in Dallas, for you guys that are not in Dallas, check out their website at www.kkmsdallas.com for all their events. Right now, they're at All Premise, which is the last time they will be there. So, which is October 27th. So if you're not there already, head out there. They're going to try to keep it, the party going as long as they can, because this will be their last night there. And just to give their sentiments on it, they love being there. We've all enjoyed being there, but sometimes it's just time to grow on to other and better things or whatever. But we enjoyed our time at On Premise. Thank you, the people that opened their doors for us. Thank you, KKMS, for even, supporting and making that available. And then First Fridays is coming up. That will be November something, whatever day that is. They will be at Mia X, right? Is where they normally are on First Fridays. Of course, they'll probably have drink specials, but check out the website for details from 10 to 2, like always, or whatever. And then they also do elevated Saturdays. So there should be something coming up. That's usually at Mila's, right? Like a day party. I think we've gone to most of them. I may have missed one here or there. But they've been nice. So,
at Mila's we've been to I think 3 or 4, but we ain't been most of them. They've been doing them for a while.
Oh well, lately I say. Yeah. Well, yeah, recently, and they've been nice, and I've enjoyed it. The atmosphere is very nice and everything. Drinks are always on point or whatever. So yeah, just check their website to get any more events that may be happening. I know that the Halloween party was just the other day or whatever. I'm here. It was a great success. So thank you guys for providing that and having that fun. That's good. That's good. So anyway, that's all I have.
And then let's see what Deshaun says here. Says there's people that want to be gothic. There's people that want to be androgynous. It's what their character is, including males. They act like they don't have a character. Like, what the hell? Then, by the way, what do you say?
Oh.
Oh, this beat from this pro makes me want to get on up, and I can't even dance. Get on up,
right?
It does. It makes me want to get in there and bop around too.
You know, Alvin, I already told you I'll be over here bogan.
Yeah, Charles be having whatever, he be all up into it. Let's see. These men that want to be gamers. These men want to be nerds. They want to even let them be nerds. They won't even let them be nerds. They won't even let them be who they want to be authentically. And men that are the nicest people. Yeah, my son, he games. He's a gamer.
Mm-hmm. It's all about control. I mean, even back to the church thing I was just saying, it's control. They tell you how to think. There's some churches that limit what you can read other than the Bible or what they have approved for you to, to read or whatever. They don't want you to visit. It's just very manipulative and controlling or whatever. And like I said, people just can't be themselves.
Right. And it's Deshaun, you're right. They think everybody, they want everybody to be the same. Everybody is not the same.
Right.
And it'll be a very sad place if we all act alike, looked alike, we're the same.
Right.
We all was involved in religion. We all worship the same God or whatever. We all went to the same, to these type of this.
Right.
We all, the world would be a very boring.
We all listen to this genre of music.
Right.
So all the other people just don't have no career. Because this is the only music that's accepted. It's like, no.
Right. Yeah. So, I'm just going through my little stuff here, make sure we got everything else, because we did talk about the intersectionality. I keep saying intersexuality.
Oh no,
right? Yeah, and it's actually intersectionality.
Yeah.
For some reason, intersexuality wants to come out of I wonder if I got sex on the brain.
Oh, you normally do.
No, that's you.
No, that's
you. Always talking about sex and all that.
Oh my God!
We'll talk about it, and it'd be on my brain, but it ain't on mine as much as you.
What? What are you talking about, Alvin?
Why are you always trying to pretend like you're this?
I'm not trying to pretend. I don't agree with you. I don't talk about sex all the time.
Well, then that's a lie.
Am I talking about sex right now?
Wait till we not on here. You'll come out of your mouth and what you do. So don't be pretending like you're this little innocent, unsexual, what?
I didn't know. They know. I've been untold stories about threesomes and all kind of stuff and friend with benefits. They done heard, I don't talk about sex a lot. You do. I said not all the time because you said that's all I talk about.
Well, mostly.
Oh my goodness.
You just ain't on here doing it.
I do talk. We talked about friends with benefits.
I'm talking about the other type of stuff.
But I've told my story, so they know that I'm not. I did, because one thing we said when we did the show, we were going to be open and honest. Right. And so if we talk about a topic that I have some experience in, I will kind of, tell my little thing.
It's not hard for me to be open and honest. Any of my friends, anybody that knows me, they know the shit that come out of my mouth that I'm going, it's going to be true. I don't want to be running around lying and being pretentious and stuff, like that. Now sometimes I'm kind of blunt, and that can throw you off because some of the stuff that will come out of my mouth, or whatever. But I don't have a problem talking about sex, sexuality, or anything that surrounds it, or any other type of subject or anything either.
Okay, then we'll talk about it when this live is over.
Oh, he's going. What is that? Is that your? Do you want to have a good day or you want to have a bad day? Is that your thing? So once the live over, you gonna let me have it?
No, you said you don't mind talking about sex. I said so. We'll talk about sex when the live is over.
Okay. Why do we gotta talk about the live over? Shit, I'm gonna go to bed. I ain't saying with you. I'm talking about myself. Okay, let's get back to here. Oh my God. And then everybody, Go follow Slick and Slacious and Jay and Joe. They have really good content. I was watching some stuff from Slick. Slick put out some new stuff the other day, and the one I saw today. And I saw one yesterday. I saw it yesterday too. But she put out some good stuff. I actually was like, Slick, you should went live with that, because that would have been something. That would have been a good conversation to get into and have some comments and stuff about. And then Slick, they did one of those. Let me think about it.
Right.
Okay. And then with Jay and Joe, they be on there talking about sex and stuff too. They talk a lot about a lot of different stuff, and they got some really good content. And then they also over there giving away money, because I won some money today.
Yeah,
I won $50.
Thank y'all. That's going to me.
Right. They were playing the game. They were playing games, and then they got other stuff, that they said they're gonna, get into later, and be giving away, prizes and gifts and stuff, like that, because they're starting their own little business and stuff too. But follow those guys, because they really put out some good stuff, and then they have me laughing. And then, and the Kents, I like watching them too, because they, they're all putting out. The Kents don't go live, but I think they're getting ready. From what I heard from Jay and Joe today and them, they're going to probably start trying to go live.
Yeah.
But there's some really good content creators out there, people.
I appreciate them, because I don't know if I've ever said it or whatever, but I learn from you guys, and I know, you probably learn things from us, so you just enjoy, the conversation or whatever. So it's like, to me, since some of them have been doing it longer than us, that to me, I look at them like our big, well, to me, I look like a big brother, or someone that's been in the thing, the league a little bit longer, and you take some things from them. You see what works, what doesn't work, or whatever. But you still stay authentic to who you are as well. Right. But you guys have great ideas, great platforms, great concepts. I don't know how y'all come up with all these different topics and stuff. Because me and Alvin, sometimes we'd be like, "What are we gonna talk about?" It's
I don't have a loss of talking about for the topics.
Well, sometimes
there's a lot out there.
It is.
It just depends on. Sometimes it's what's going on in the world. Sometimes we have to switch because whatever current event is going on.
Yeah. But
sometimes we tie the current event. It might be a week or two later because it's still going on. But we might tie that into what we're talking about or whatever. But there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of our personal opinions and experiences that we have had that we can talk about. So I don't have a lot to talk about. It's just when we're going to put it on the roster.
Oh yeah.
Or
when it fits.
Or when so, or how we're going to talk about it, or whatever. Because sometimes we could be quite offensive.
And then the topic is like when we want to bring someone in too,
right,
like that has the credentials,
right,
or whatever. Like Keith, you said one day we want to bring him.
Yeah, we'll bring Keith in because he has the credentials to talk, for the mental health therapy, because he's a
licensed.
Yeah, he's a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
So I think he's a doctor. Like I think he's actually an actual. He's either a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something. I need to check, but I know he does have a license, and he actively practices. And then then there's Alvin Watkins out there too. I check in on him periodically. Also, he has all his daily devotions, religious.
Okay.
The stuff you like. You like
start your day with those positive affirmations.
He's out there too.
Yes.
So let's see what Deshaun is saying here. Thank y'all.
What?
Oh, they said Jay and Joe said thank y'all. Thank y'all. We thank y'all too because we, some stuff that I hear y'all say, it inspires me sometimes to bring it on, and then I'll tell Charles or whatever, or he'll be on there, and we're like, oh, that's a good topic or something, or that they had some very good, interesting conversation, and it'll spur us on to talk about maybe that topic or elaborate on some of the stuff that y'all have said. I mean, what y'all were talking about today, it was funny. It was funny, but it was very good topic and stuff too. Because they got into some of that. Some of the sexual stuff too, but they got into other things too. Okay. They might not talk about it like as much as we do, but
see. But then he just said as much as he does.
I said we.
Yeah. So it's not just me.
No, it's not just you. I mean, I have sex on the brain too. You know, I just ain't getting it probably the way I want, but you know,
now the world knows.
The world has always known. I've never kept that a secret.
You're in rare form tonight, Alvin.
We go back and forth with topics, and sometimes it comes from comments or just watching others on YouTube. Yeah, ours do too.
Yeah.
You know, just like the one we're doing today. I was watching
the smart guy.
Well, I wasn't really watching him. I was watching the other YouTube channel. You know, because I subscribe to their channel.
I want to follow them. Huh? You got to tell me who they are. I want to follow them.
Yeah.
But I would have thrown him off. I don't know if you guys saw the interview that Alvin we opened up with earlier, but the way that guy was acting, and I just saw a clip of it. I think I would have told him, "Okay, sir, this interview is over." You know, because he kept, like you said, he was interrupting them and cutting them off and speaking over them, hollering and cursing. It's like, sir.
Yeah, and Deshaun, he sends us topics and stuff too through Instagram. I'll be reading the different stuff that he puts through there too, because we done talked about a couple of them from from his stuff. So, but anyway, I think I'll put some of this up here and make sure that we covered our topics here. Queer Black legacy. Yeah, we've talked about that. You see what? Hey, my brothers, Jay and Joe. I'm excited. Okay. You have anything else, Charles? You got any closing points and stuff while I run through these tickers?
Or anything I want to So what if a person is conflicted with either the black or the queer thing? How do they get to the point where they can fully embrace that and not take the pressures of society putting that on them? Because first of all, why should you even make a choice? But how does a person that only sees them in one or may have made one higher than the other, how do they come to a point where they can fully embrace both of them and function? Because I mean, of course, you clearly have, and I mean, me too, but
I think it's like when you embrace yourself, and stop embracing everything that society, that society says you have to be, or you have to act this way, or you got to be this way, or you got to believe a certain way, or whatever. I think when you actually embrace yourself, and some of it is, when you come out, like actually, if you're actually out there, not halfway in and halfway out, or I'm this way sometimes and I'm this way the other times, or whatever. When you're 100% comfortable with yourself, and you like and love who you are, with all the ups and downs and all the happiness and unhappiness and turmoil and whatever goes through our life, that's just life, right? But when you accept yourself and that that those falsities out there that they're putting out is not true of who you are, and who your character is, your your morality. Everybody's morality is not the same. Once you know that, whatever, then you accept yourself, and then you push that shit away as bullshit. Right. I mean, we're talking about it today. It ain't nothing I subscribe to. Right. I don't buy into any of that stuff. Whatever. Like I said, my blackness and my queerness and my funniness, right? My insecurity, all of that stuff. Right. It's all a part of all me. Of you. Some of it needs to be might need to be worked on or whatever. But most of that's who I am. That's what makes me up of who I am. Right. them out there, that guy, the preachers and other people out there telling me, trying to make me think that something's wrong with me, or that I'm different, or that somehow I'm not as good as them, or I'm not getting into heaven, or you're going to hell. Well, if those places exist, right? Any of that, that it goes in one, it goes through here and out here. Yeah. It's basically like a sponge. It goes in there and it drips right on back out. Right. Because I don't subscribe to it. Right. I know that people do, and I know that it does cause harm to people, and it does, create, turmoil and trauma in our lives and stuff, like that. I don't subscribe to it. Right. So it's not harming me in that way, but it's harming people that I know. Right. It's harming people that I like and love, and stuff, like that. So I'm going to fight for being black and being queer. They're both the same to me. Exactly. Exactly. And I don't see one struggle any different than the other. And I'm going to fight for all of us. I'm going to fight for women's rights. I'm going to fight for black women's rights. I'm going to fight for children's rights. I'm going to fight for black men's rights. I'm going to fight for gays, trans, queers, lesbians. I'm going to fight for all of our rights. Right. The only ones I'm not fighting for are the ones when you're out there doing harm to somebody. Right. I'm not going to fight for a pedophile. Right. I'm not going to fight for a molester, a rapist, for a killer. For people taking advantage of people and stuff. Those are not the rights and stuff that I fight for. Right. But I think when you do accept yourself, it's hard when you're in the closet, or halfway in and halfway out. It's hard to fight for or whatever, because your fear of being exposed or whatever, or what harm can come to you. But once you start accepting yourself, I think that you can, you'll get out there and you'll dispel those myths, and you'll, won't buy into that type of stuff. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think that was very wise, Alvin. That was really good. Very great advice. And I mean, spoken like a guru. But I think also maybe even joining communities where both black and your LGBTQ, they come together. Because, that's really, not to say we don't do things with other races or whatever, but that's where we find a lot of our community. We find places where both are celebrated. Like we just mentioned KKMS. Both your blackness and your LGBTQ plus whatever it is status is celebrated, and it is appreciated, and it's seen, and they realize that this makes you who you are. You're not just one dimensional, you're multi-dimensional. And I think also a person that is having an issue with accepting both and needs to embrace both, I think probably setting boundaries on those issues where people are not in agreement with certain things, like maybe cutting out some certain social media. Because you look down your Instagram and you'll have all kind of stories, or you just turn on CNN and you'll hear all kind of point of views or whatever. Maybe you have to limit yourself on hearing that negative, like the stuff, the videos you play to these guys talking negatively about gays or whatever. So you may have to set boundaries, on what you're watching, what you're listening to, who you're hanging out with, until you can embrace your full self. So to add on to the advice, because I thought that was really good, Alvin.
So this, I would say this, to the question you asked me also just a minute ago, I would say this also, the development of individual identities is influenced by societal forces. Therefore, you cannot understand yourself or others without understanding how society constructs or defines characteristics such as gender, sexuality, race, religion, social class, and nationality. Yeah, and without understanding that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta know yourself. You gotta accept. Basically, that's what I'm saying. You gotta learn about this world, learn how this shit works out here. Learn this heteronormativity stuff out, you know, how this stuff was created, how it came about, and stuff, you know, like that. And then you'll start to learn about yourself and what motivates you, or why you think the way you think, or why you behave or you do, you know, what. So sometimes gays can be very oppressive themselves. We can oppress each other, you know, or whatever, because we're not comfortable with ourselves, or we don't know ourselves, or whatever. You know, once you know that and stuff, and you love and accept yourself, then, you know, then we can start fighting this battle. You know? And then if you come out the closet, you know, more people come out the closet, we'll have more people. Society will see that there's more people out there other than just us. You know what I'm saying? And they'll say, well, maybe, you know, and they might start changing their views and stuff, because they'll see, because, you know, the ones who they think aren't are, like we said, they see us, but they don't see all the queers out there, all the DLs, the gays, the trans, the lesbians. They don't see the whole picture.
We're bigger than just a saucy.
We're, you know, and they don't see the whole picture. So, you know, but if more of us came out and showed who we were, which it ain't gonna happen probably for a long time, if it ever happens. But if more of us came out and stuff, then we'll have more people that could help dispel those myths that they have about us. They can help fight these laws and stuff that they use to oppress us. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's just
that's true.
It's just me.
But that's a good statement. Basically, like, until you know how the thing was originated, know the background, know the history. And then you can see how you can format how you're gonna, you know, walk your life out. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
So, yeah, Deshaun. Deshaun said, "Have I ever heard? Have we ever heard of the 1960 civil rights movement?" Yeah, and that's why, because of that movement, is how much some of it is our ancestors, or just our parents who are alive today, and our relatives who are alive today who fought and protested, and some of them lost their lives in that civil right. You know, even before that, you know what I'm saying? Even before that, you know, but that's why we have some of the laws and stuff we have now, because of that 1964 civil rights movement and the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That's why we have a lot of discrimination laws and stuff that are in place now. And now, you know, in most jobs and in most states and stuff, you know, like that too, there's protections for gays and lesbians stuff, because it's rolled into that 1964 Civil Rights Act. Now, a lot of people still don't practice it, you know, and they can still use it. They can still discriminate against you, you know, or whatever. But, you know, that's why the EEC I was going, because you know my bank, I know, but you know my bank is called EECU, Educational Employee Credit Unit, and I always get those initials mixed up. And it's the equal, and that's why that's out there to help protect, you know, and enforce the laws and stuff, you know, like that. Just like when you go into the hospital and all, you know, for different stuff or whatever, those laws, the red flag, you know, there's, you know, in all these red flag laws and stuff, that's kind of rolled into Medicare, Medicaid, different type of joint commission type of stuff. But these 1964 laws are also rolled into that to help protect us and to help protect you from discrimination in getting a job or being fired from a job. Or you know, or fighting for your rights and all this type of stuff. Yeah, I know very well about all of that.
I'm so grateful that they did that. You know, and that's all it takes. Just take a group of people of, you know, like-minded to go out and fight, you know, for these things, because, like I said, they're human rights. They're equal. I mean, we should all have the same type of equality. There shouldn't be any difference just because of what you do in your bedroom or whatever, and that you try to make me choose one over the other. No, this is all the aspects of me, and I want to bring all of them, you know, to the table, and I shouldn't have to hide anything.
And it was a gay man It was a gay man who helped Martin Luther King, and everybody knows who it is, you know, or should know who it is. But it was a gay man, and Barrett Rustin. Okay, there's a movie out there. There's movies and documentaries and stuff out there about him. But that, you know, he was actually the one behind the civil rights movement. You know, who actually got Dr. Martin Luther King to help with that movement, because at first Dr. Martin Luther King didn't want to do it, you know, or whatever. Even though they knew that Barrett Rustin was gay also, but they hid his sexuality. You know, they didn't want him to, and they didn't talk about it or anything and stuff, you know, like that, which he was acting out in the background because he couldn't express himself and be who he was. So he was doing things in the background, acting out and shit too. But that still doesn't take away from the goodness and the stuff that he did to help push the civil rights movement along, you know, along with that March on Washington and all of that type of stuff.
So this is another thing that the black gay community has provided to the black community that
people don't give us credit for, or whatever stuff. And yeah, Martin Luther King knew that he was gay. Everybody, a lot of people there knew he gay, but again, they had to make him keep it in the closet, you know, whatever, because they thought it would harm the civil rights movement if they knew this, that, or the other. You know, 2 steps forward and another step back.
Exactly.
So anyway, and also Alvin said, also be comfortable in your skin and know your value. 100% Alvin, 100%. So
I have just one last statement for me, about like my thoughts on everything. And I said, when a black gay person can fully show up as both black and gay without feeling the need to prioritize one, it sends a message of self-empowerment, and it challenges others to respond to that same type of thinking, and you know, or respond to the way they've been thinking or whatever. It's about creating and occupying spaces where I can come up in my full spectrum of identity and be embraced, and also where I'm being whole, and I'm bringing my multi-dimensional place, because that should be the goal. The goal is should be for me to come up in all of me or whatever, because that's when, you know, things can be experienced and things can be shared and you can be vulnerable and, you know, just be honest with, and things can be addressed or whatever. Because I think a lot of things they're not addressed because they're not seen. There's some, like, you know, I was telling you how when I first told my parents about, you know, when I was molested or whatever, if I had not, it wasn't discussed because it was never brought up. And sometimes I think the heterosexual community needs to take the time out and hear us, like just really hear us. Whether you agree or disagree, just hear our stories, you know, and not just be like, oh, it ain't right for a man and a man, you know, it's the Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve, you know, and, you know, doing all that or whatever, but just hear us, and you will see that all we want is to have an equal rights. All we want is not to be discriminated. The same things that our same people, Black people, dealt with back then. We just want that as well, just for being gay. So yeah,
I wonder if Black folks, not all. You always got to say that, not all. But I wonder if Black folks think that. I probably, you know, most Black folks shit is rooted in religion. I know the answer to this thing, you know, because I was going to say, do they think if they mirror white society and discriminate against gay people and treat us the way, society has treated us or whatever, do they think that they do that? Do they think that gives them more accessibility to whiteness, you know, or whatever? But I actually know the real reason is, you know, it's really rooted in religion, and they started following that King James version of the Bible instead of the the religions and stuff that they had back in
right, like the Ethiopian, they got their own.
Yeah, everybody has all these, but they started following that
African spirituality, and
right?
like that.
And then they started using it to oppress other people too. And then sometimes that gained favor also when they back in the slavery time too, when they would use that Bible to start oppressing, other gay people, because the slave master really had that Bible. They was using it so they can, use it to get, to use it so they can keep the black people in line and to follow the rules and to obey and to get them to work, make sure that they're working for them. Because back then they were using the Bible to say, well, it has it in here, slavery, God has it in here about the slaves and all this type of bullshit. But black people, once they picked that up back in that time or whatever, they've been using it against us, us gay people. Once they find out that we are gay or queer or whatever, they use that. They use it to oppress us also. Yeah. So I know the real reason. So I don't even know why I said that, but it goes back to religion and what they think is more, moral and following God's laws and commandments and stuff. And they're not even. Some of them don't even read that damn Bible. And some of them just go by what the preacher's preaching off the pulpit. But they don't understand that some of those laws, those in the Old Testament, those laws weren't even meant for the rest of society. They were only meant for the Jewish Israelites. Exactly. That was their laws, their commandments, and they were there specifically for different things and different acts. It had nothing to do with gay people or anything. Stuff. That's Sodom and Gomorrah, the Leviticus, all that stuff. They have so misread that. They have no. They have no idea really what all that means because they don't go back and actually research what that really means and try to find out the true meanings of that stuff. And then we talk ourselves blue in the face trying to get them to understand and accept us and stuff. And then I just ain't gonna do it. I love straight people because I got a lot of straight friends. I love gay people or whatever stuff, like that. But I ain't gonna take bullshit off of any of them. Not even off my own relatives or anybody and stuff, like that. You don't have to like it or whatever, but you still need to accept me as a human being. And don't discriminate and take, and discriminate against me or make laws against me, or whatever, because I'm as long as I can breathe and walk and ain't senile or got dementia, I'm gonna fight for equality for all of us. And we're all the same. The black and the queer, it's merged.
So I think you had a fist about it, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I do have a little fist. Well, I mean, we are all we are all in the rainbow. So.
And they doesn't have to be separated. All the issues can come together and be addressed, and
So I think that's about it. What do you think? I mean, let's see what Deshaun says here. Also, you come from skin and know your value. They don't. He's got things here. They don't even teach the children how to live right. They teach them how to live reckless when they little and when they, when they want to complain about it. Some of these kids are growing up in really bad homes too, where there's a lot of dysfunction going on. There's a lot of abuse, and neglect. Heck, a lot of them are growing up and ain't even got anything to eat or whatever and stuff, or they're seeing their parents being abused or their mother being abused by boyfriends, or just all type of stuff can be going on. And these children see this type of stuff, and they grow up, and then they can mirror that behavior, or they can perpetrate that same behavior because they think that's what they know, And some don't know how to break away from that type of stuff. So, and like some of these kids, they are gay, lesbian, queer, trans, or whatever, but they're, in their household or who they're around, it's been spoken against so much and deemed as wrong and immoral that these kids don't even know how to come out and say who they are. They're afraid, afraid of losing their family, or afraid of abuse, or anything, and so and some of them don't have they didn't learn the skills of how to maneuver through that type
Right.
of stuff.
Right.
You know?
Cause because if you haven't, that it really becomes surviving in your own area where you should feel safe.
Right.
You shouldn't feel like you're in danger with family and church or whatever. But yeah, a lot of them have to hide that part of themselves.
Right.
Because of the homophobia. And I guess it could be vice versa for the I don't know how it could be, but for the Black person, I guess there's some kind of survival there too, that we have to make, and so maybe you prioritize, one over the other, but yeah, I guess both could be surviving, but yeah, there's a lot that a person that has, and I was one of them, grew up in religion or whatever, you kind of know where everyone's stance is, and it's almost like you want to please them. You don't want to rock the boat or whatever, because in rocking the boat comes all this, consequences, and that could be, if you've been part of a church or whatever, it could be, it goes from prayer all the way from maybe putting oil on you to being baptized, and then back in the day they even sent people to these camps or whatever, to try to make them straight or whatever, and now now they're all gone or whatever, because they realized that didn't work or whatever. Even the creator of it was gay himself. And it's like, this should be a place where I'm safe. But yeah, some of them, they have to survive in those areas, which is,
right.
It's hard, wrenching.
And then, here's this: the Black community places unrealistic consequences on what men are supposed to be, and place limits on individual expression, making spaces feel less free and safe for all of us. And then I find that more oppression in the Black community, they doing that, than I do in the white community. Because white people, white gay men, they basically can be, once they come out, they don't give a shit what their parents say. Once they done cussed them out or left or whatever, they done cried and left or whatever. Yeah. And then their parents, either most of them eventually come around or whatever. Right. But white gay men especially, they can do whatever they want in society. Not everything. Right. You know what I mean?
But they get a pass in their community.
Right. They get that pass or whatever. And they get spaces made for them. Where Black queers don't necessarily get those spaces. And Black, white men, when they're straight, they can act any way they want.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of they can have feminine characteristics. They can have be over the top. They can dress any way they want. They can dress up, down, feminine. They can wear makeup.
What's his name that went to jail? Isn't that Chrisley?
Chrisley. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like he can do all that. People's
right. And then but they can act any way they want. But Black men, they can't show any type of femininity
at all.
Because it's like they have to show masculinity all the time, because if they don't, the women are going to attack them as being gay or feminine, or they must be gay, and the men, they're going to attack them, attack us, whatever, as being, gay or queer or whatever.
Because those come off as weaknesses.
Right.
So you look weak. I want to make it strong. If you come out as gay, okay, that's seen as weakness.
Right. And I don't see, the men, they'll do it, but I don't see them do it on the scale as much as a woman. A lot of times if the man see you as feminine, straight man, Black man see you as feminine, whatever and stuff, and they're straight or whatever. A lot of times they might, whatever they're thinking in here, but most of the time they just ignore you, go on about their business or whatever. They're not, unless they're with a bunch of other people and they want to say something under their breath. But most of the time they just go on. Right. But women, a lot of times, Black women, they'll start making them statements and even though Black men do it too, I've seen it in the comments, but mostly I see the Black women making those type of comments, like if a person is feminine, a black man has some feminine ways or qualities, then he must be gay, you know, or he must be messing around with men and stuff. And a lot of times that's not even true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they'll put us in that box and category, and then which can stigmatize that person, and then people do be thinking that they're gay or whatever, like that. And then, but
yeah, that's amazing to me. And then you have the other type of black female that loves us. You know, they go into the bars with us. We'll probably be at, you know, spend more time with them than we do our other black gay male friends. We're with our straight, you know, black girlfriend. You know, she's at the block parties with us. You know, it's like, how can you get it? You know, and hopefully you get it. Hopefully you're just not here for the fun and entertainment. You know, hopefully you're in it for the whole thing or whatever. But how can you get it? And then you have these other type of women that just see it as, you know, demonic, and it's just the worst thing ever. You know, I wouldn't even want my own child to be gay or what. You know how, you know, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then it says that the intersection of race and sexuality-based discrimination is linked to myriad negative health outcomes for Black queers, including negative psychological and substance use outcomes, and limited access to HIV prevention services. And that's true, you know, because white people are gonna go get their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just like when all the HIV and AIDS started happening, when it started happening in the late, I think it was like 79 going into 80, 81, when it was when shit started happening, you know. And then you know, the white people, yeah, they got out there and fought, you know, eventually they had enough of the government and people telling us that, you know, taking our rights away and not giving us health care and treating us and doing all that type of stuff. You know, Black people got out there and fought too, but not as much as the white folks got out there and fought, because Black folks, even then, they were down low. The men were down low. They didn't want anybody to know that they were having sex with men, so they wouldn't go seek this help, you know. And it's just like Black men today, they don't want anybody to know that they're gay or have, you know, or they have gay inklings or are queer or anything, you know, like that. They don't want anybody to know, so they won't go seek. They won't go out there and fight for our rights. They won't go out there and protest. They won't write to Congress. You know, they won't demand, you know, they won't demand fair treatment and equality and whatever. And then with that, they won't go to the doctor because they don't want anybody to know that they're gay. If they went to the doctor, and in their mind, they're fearful too, like, well, shit, if I go to the doctor, what if I have HIV because I done slept with a man? You know, but you can get it from women or from needles and drugs and every damn thing. It's just not through sex. But they have that fear that, you know, I don't want anybody to know that I'm gay or anything like that, so I can't be out there voicing or putting myself out there like that. And I'm not going to go, you know, they won't go seek mental health, you know, because the issues they're having, struggling with their sexuality and whatever. So they torture themselves and keep that in, and they torture themselves, and they won't get the mental health that they need to help them deal sometimes with, you know, with the complexities of your gender or your sexuality, and, you know, and stuff, you know, like that. And they won't get the medical health care they need because they're afraid that they might, you know, their doctor might come and say, I have HIV, and they don't want to know it themselves sometime, and they won't go out and you know, so they'll still just do the download stuff and then end up spreading shit and or doing things, you know, and stuff, you know, like hurting people and stuff, you know, like that. But
because why put her through that, and you know you don't want a woman.
But there are definitely negative outcomes that come with being gay and queer and stuff, you know, like that, because because of the shame factor that we have, that society has put on us, that we're immoral and stuff, you know, like that. So, but anyway.
And that could be a reason why a person would choose one over the other. Like, I want to choose Black because I know how y'all treat gay people, you know. So I'm not gonna identify as that, I'm gonna put that one over.
But most black people from the research that I have done and the statistics, and then just from watching different lives and channels and stuff, like that, and then just talking to people who I know that are black and stuff too. Most black gay people, they think that you should put blackness. They think you should put your blackness before your gayness. They don't, and then your gayness can come somewhere down the line or not come at all.
Right.
Your queerness. But most black people do think that you're black first, and then the other stuff is secondary. So, from what I've learned.
And I can see that if we're taking the heteronormative view of everything, because a straight person, they're probably not gonna put I'm black, then straight, or I'm straight, then black. I don't even think that crosses their mind, because that's the norm. So I shouldn't even have to say that I'm straight or whatever. So since they don't really say that or include that when they're speaking about their totality of who they are, why should I, or whatever, or it doesn't have to be on a high list or whatever. So I can see that thinking. Oh, they're leaving.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you guys.
We'll check in on y'all again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my son. I was like, who's coming in the door? That's my son. Work. Hey, Lake.
What's up, mate?
So and we're about to get out of here too. I'm gonna put up here what Deshaun said about T.S. Madison. Though you see a lot of people. There was one woman, that celebrity, that was on Instagram. That was, she was. See what his little comment. She was gang raped, man, and yeah, they worry about our morality, and they out here doing all type of stuff.
Right.
You see that, but a lot of people like to point fingers. Blame a group. Not every group is the same. Not every group is messy. Every group is trifling. Right. Let's see. But see, what they do is they put a group category and try to force them to be trifling, because that's really wrong of what they're doing. Comment here that he said about T.S. Also, black men don't want to go to the doctor like T.S. Madison. Oh, yeah. T.S. Madison has said that before too. Said when she had an argument with Mo, we said, I'm undecided. Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't. You saw it first, and I went back later and watched it, and that was a heated.
Yes.
Oh man, that was heated when man.
I didn't know how that was gonna go.
I didn't know how that was gonna go either.
I was like, oh Lord.
Right. Yeah, because they went in on Mo, but Mo went in on it too. But I agree with what Craig and TS was saying. And a lot of times I do agree with what Mo was saying too, because he has a lot of valid points, and a lot of stuff he says can be it can be two things. Two things can be true at once.
Right.
This time though, I didn't agree with what he was saying, but that's just my opinion. And I don't agree with any of the ones who are out there voting against Kamala Harris, and they're going to vote for Trump. I have no respect for you at all. And in my opinion, doesn't matter to them. It's not going to do anything to them or take anything away from them. That's just my feelings or whatever. I have no respect for you. Doesn't mean that I don't like you, or that we're not, friends, whatever. It's just that, that's craziness who this man is. He can destroy your whole humanity,
right?
And take away your rights and whatever. If they get in, if he gets in, and then they get the House and the Senate, and they already have the judgeships,
right?
They already got the Supreme Court, whatever stuff. People, you're going to be screwed. You might not even have a chance to come back and vote in another election to vote him out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or the Republicans out, because they have it in there where they're going to make it so they cannot be voted out.
Right.
That, they're going to have it where the National Guards and stuff can come and take, do harm to you, it's a lot in there, you know. And they've been planning this for so many years, not just in this election. They've been planning, and now it's almost going to come. If they get that idiot back in there, then people, you know, don't whine and complain when shit starts happening to you, okay? Because you ain't gonna get no more money unless you rich, unless you filthy rich. That's all that the Republicans really are for, you know. And they think that all of them are gonna get there and stuff too. But unless you're filthy rich, that Trump's economy does not work for you, and his legislation is not going to work for you. Okay, all it's going to do is take away from you. But if you don't see it, then you better hope he don't get in, because then you are going to see it.
Because they said these laws and stuff they trying to put in place were around since Reagan. Or probably even before, you know, somewhere in there. And now he's the one, you know, he's the dummy they've chosen to voice it. But my thing is, like, black people are so quick to forget. Like, don't be quick to forget that this is the same man that has spoke so negatively about black people. I mean, he's even with the what is the guy that the police put their feet on his neck, Floyd, right?
George
Floyd. Just how he acted in that whole thing, and how he wants to give policemen, what do they get? Immunity, you know, where they can just do anything. And they already doing it now. They shooting us, killing us. Now, if they do it, they don't even have to have a trial. They don't have to go before a jury or whatever, because he's giving them immunity to do whatever the hell they want to do. And you think you're going to be safe in that type of country? Oh, hell no.
Right. Yeah, let them go ahead and do it. You know, I think she's going to win. But, but you know, I think it's this time around, there's going to be more people voting for Trump or whatever, which could lessen our chances, or you know, whatever. But you know, you can't tell people how to vote or what to do or whatever stuff, you know, like that. But sometimes I don't think they see the that there's something ain't clean in the milk, you know. And sometimes I think that some black folks just think about money. They put money over everything else, and they think that they're going to get this or they're going to get that, you know. And they think by voting for the Republicans or Trump, they think that this is going to come to them, and they're eventually going to have a lot of money and stuff. You didn't get it in the last one. The damn what are the damn subsidies or whatever the hell they gave y'all? Well, they didn't give me shit, you know. But whatever they gave y'all, it didn't last long.
To me, you're
still back in the same position that you were.
Regardless of what policy thing you think he has that's going to benefit you, you have to always remember. Right. So whether this is a good policy or whatever, you're going to be the last one that it might not even reach you. It might not even get down that far. Any policy here, it's gonna start with the rich people and it goes down from there or whatever. It might not ever touch you, but you thought you were gonna benefit. And my thing is, when have black people ever benefited? Rarely. You know, there have been some, but like rarely, But you think he's the one that's gonna make the change? Oh hell no. Y'all got to be crazy.
Yeah, I think they're looking at it, you know, and then some of them do it because just like we saw that preacher and them preaching about religious like gays, homosexual, more. Some of them will vote for him because they think that the Republicans is the
holy party.
The holy the holy party. Yeah, they think that they got the hand on God or whatever and stuff, you know, like that. So they think, oh, I need to vote for him then, because, you know, even all the stuff that he's done that's considered ungodly, you know, grabbing the women by the pussy and you know, all the fraud and bankruptcy and all this other crap that he done been through, and the stealing and manipulation and stuff that he's done, you know, they're still going to vote for him. But then they'll, you know, that's weird how some black people will look at the Democratic Party like, well, and do that whole comparison thing. Well, they're both bad, you know, or whatever, you know, or the Democratic Party ain't doing anything wrong. Well, the Democratic Party has done more for you, for us, than the Republican Party has over these years. You know, you know, there are racists in the Democratic Party too. There are some who ain't on the up and up, but for the most part, the Democratic Party is fighting for everyone, not just Republicans, Democrats, or independents, or black, white, Hispanic, Indian, Asian, whatever. The Democratic Party is fighting for everyone, to have a piece of that pie. Whether we get it or not, that's another story. But they're at least out there putting forth the legislation to help us. The Republicans are there, and they want to take away. The Democrats want to give you. The Republicans want to take away. Okay, so think about that.
And they try to go for the Republicans because they seem to be against abortion or whatever. But I bet most of the Republicans probably have had abortions. But you claim that you're against it or whatever because those are expensive. And y'all supposed to be the ones with the money, so I'm pretty sure most of y'all are having the abortion. And Christians have been taught, abortion is basically, it's always life. We don't choose death or whatever. So that's why they'll try to go for the Republican because they're basing their vote on their values or morals or whatever. But when that party gets in, I mean, there's still going to be all kind of stuff going on. Like you said, there's some good and bad in both. Everything. No one is perfect with plan, and then you still have to deal with people. You can have all kind of plans you want to, but you still have to deal with people. I'm sure you come from you're director or whatever. You work with people. Like this is the way I want it to go, but somebody got attitude. I ain't doing that. Well, I don't even like Alvin, so I'm not gonna do it. Well, Alvin, I have a better idea. It should actually work this way. You have all these different opinions or whatever. So regardless of what plan you may have set for the people, you still have to deal with people. You still got to deal with that House, that Congress, all that.
Right.
So,
and then so Deshaun says first, Obama said that all the money, like the stimulus check, was actually Obama's, and Trump took it and said it was Trump's annoying that it wasn't his. Well, and then another of his things, he said, correct me if I'm incorrect. You're correct on some of it. The money that was used to give people stimulus checks, that money did come from Obama's economy. Okay, because Trump had just got in office, he hadn't done shit yet.
right.
And then and even his economy still, it still did not put forth much as people think that it did, or whatever. That was still coming from Obama's economy. The stimulus checks was actually from the Democrats. The Democrats put forth the legislation in the House, to give people stimulus checks during the COVID, during the COVID and stuff. So because people were out of work and people were hardly working, people wouldn't go to work because of whatever, they shut down stuff or whatever. So in order to keep the economy going, or whatever, they gave out the stimulus checks so people can still go out and buy food, buy stuff that they needed and stuff, like that, to help businesses and stuff, like that. Trump was actually against it. The Republicans were actually against it, except for maybe 6 or 7 of them who agreed with that. And so we needed those 6 or 7 Republicans to help the Democrats pass that legislation from the House to the Senate, and that's how it was able to get passed. And once Trump knew that it was going to be passed, he went in there and decided, I'm going to take credit for it, and I'm gonna make sure I want my name written on all the checks or whatever, so people can think that I gave y'all that money, so he can get the praise. He's a classic narcissist. Okay, that is a classic narcissist right there, and he wanted the credit for it. But actually, that legislation and the stimulus checks actually came from the Democrats who pushed for that and was able to push that through the House and get it pushed through the Senate. But Trump and most of the Republican Party were not for that. Okay, they wanted to give it to all businesses. Not to all businesses, but to big businesses or whatever, and that would help them. They weren't really thinking about the smaller businesses, and they weren't thinking about our black asses.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a fallacy that people think that Trump gave us stimulus checks. And then, so I guess we're gonna get out of here. I think we done. I know I didn't talk a lot. You know, I be running my damn mouth. So,
Been in rare form tonight.
so anyway, we thank everybody for joining us. You know, thanks for coming in. You know, joining in the conversation. Even thank the guy earlier, John, with his religious rhetoric and atheist religious stuff, you know, or whatever.
All that trolling.
All that trolling he was doing. But you know, we'll listen and, you know, take it, you know, taking whatever anybody's saying or whatever. I mean, we don't agree with everything you say. You ain't gonna agree with us either. So and then you're welcome. Thanks for joining us, Don.
Thank you, Deshaun.
Thanks for sending us that content that you be sending us through Instagram too. That helps us too sometimes on a topic we want to talk about.
Yes, appreciate it.
Or sometimes we might be getting ready to talk about a certain topic and then we switch over to yours because that one, you know, is stuff that, you know, or what other, you know. So anyway, thank you, sir. Thank you everybody for joining us today.
Yeah.
Please like, share, and subscribe. If you like, when you hit that thumbs up and like the and like the content, that helps the algorithm push our content out there, and then it can help us pick up a few more subscribers here and there. So we really appreciate everybody who joins us and everybody who likes and shares and subscribes to our channel.
Yes, thank you. Have a good week. Happy Sunday.
Let me see what. Deshaun says, I have a cavity on my top molar. Well, you better go get that taken out so that don't turn into a abscess.
Oh, no.
You don't want that draining down into your body. Yeah, I'd go get that taken because that can turn into an abscess, sir. And we don't need you sick. We need you to keep coming back to our channel,
right?
And watching us and helping us out here.
Oh yes, okay.
So
at first I thought he was giving us an example of trolling. I was like, where his teeth come out? I mean, where'd that come from?
Yeah, I saw a comment of what he had put in earlier that he was having some other type of issue or something too. But anyway, thanks everybody, and everybody have a good night. Good next week.
See y'all. Have a good one.